Testing. There we go. We're live. We're live. Oh my God, everybody's in here, man. I think he's 16th booster. That's why. Waldo, acid. Yeah, I'm a little bit late, man. Fuck, I barely woke up right now. I feel nothing but sadness. Need something to dip 5K into. I think he's on it. He didn't say need more money for printer. Send, please. Let's see. Where's Pal at? Where's Pal? This shit is getting a little much right now, though. Welcome back to the charts, right? Look, bro. I woke up hella late this morning, man. Fuck. It's not that bad, though, right now. It's not that bad. What did I miss? What did I miss? Where's Fed Pal at? Let's see. There we go. We got him right here. Where is he at? Right there. Nope, that's not him. Where you at, Fed Pal, you fucker? Fuck, I'm trying to find it. You said nothing, right? Nothing very much, right? I mean, from what I'm looking at, it doesn't look like anything. It seems like it's like it's very theatrical.
Of the United States.
There we go. There we go. Also said that they received about 1.5 billion in investments. Fucking motherfuckers, man. The outside investor tells me we are bleeding them dry, man. They're trying to get some more money, bro. That's good. Put the pressure on them. Fucking clamp that vice down. Market's not looking too bad, though, right?
Nation we consider today represents
oh yeah, we ain't doing too bad. The NASDAQ killed it, bro. That's crazy. Markets are bad right now. I'm not even gonna listen to that guy. I don't know why my shit's fucking up right now. Close this shit right here. Right? They only allow Wall Street to recover. What was up with that, huh? Only Wall Street recover. You got a point there. Alright, here we go. Let's see if I can bring them up this time. I don't know why my internet's acting so stupid right now. Yeah, markets aren't really doing that hot right now. I mean, we got a couple that are up. Logi Tech. I should have grabbed Logi, man. They're still going. But the main thing they're talking about is just the fucking the ethic shit that was broke.
Change. Chair Powell shown he understands, in his words, profound challenges for the global economy and financial system. If confirmed,
so you guys grab some more GMPX, Cryptomaniac. Fuck yeah, that's good. Yeah, I grabbed some contracts. Other than that, I'm just sitting here waiting, though. Just waiting. Don't be in a hurry to jump in any trades or, you know, feel obligated to make any trades. You really aren't. Just relax. Everybody else is thinking too fast. It's time to slow down and think a little slow.
Means increasing diversity at the Fed, so the people making decisions for our economy actually reflect the workers who power that economy. It's something the Fed's entire history has been, frankly, shameful about. As Chair Powell said, if entrenched inequities...
Seems like the markets are just chilling. They're just chilling right now. What do we got? Any imbalances? Nope.
They be held back from opportunities, but our economy overall will not realize its potential. Good words from the chair on that. Many of us have appreciated those words. But
yeah, they gotta make sure that they're not abusing their their positions.
Be able to trust that the Federal Reserve works for them, that officials aren't abusing.
Everybody forgot about that when those guys fucking stepped down. Like, they usually do not resign without having somebody there to take their position. I think Waldo and I were the ones here, and you were not here. Your YouTube thing, you said you were going to be here on time, but you were not here on time. How dare you be late on me? I know, man. Audacity of this motherfucker right here. I know.
To grow the economy for all Americans, not just
shit, the wife woke me up. She's like, hey, you're late. Oh, shit. I got up and just straight came to the office. I didn't even go throw water in my face or nothing, bro. I just jumped out of bed, put my jacket on, slippers, and came right up to the office.
Challenges, I believe you've shown the leadership to do so. We will be watching closely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Powell, congratulations on your renomination. As I have said, I intend to vote in favor of extending your chairmanship. Let me briefly explain why. There's a broad bipartisan backing for Chairman Powell's renomination.
Well, we're looking like advancers and decliners. Are we right down this? Is it a split bag today?
In some very difficult circumstances.
Money does never sleep. It sure the fuck doesn't, man. It's wearing me out.
Reduce regulatory burdens, including on small banks, and help to encourage economic growth. Second, when the pandemic hit nearly 2 years ago and government...
I'm just basically, I'm going to be focusing on Ford. I think Ford's where it's at this year. I mean, I'm going to be just focused on Ford.
But with Congress's help,
after this fucking FDA run-up bullshit happens.
Stabilize the financial markets and the economy. And to his critics,
GameStop
the
at?
regulatory reforms that he's
I don't got no GameStop up. What?
Collapse of the banking system. We now know that's clearly
money never sleeps. No, it sure doesn't, bro.
The pandemic caused the economy to nearly collapse. Our country emerged with the most
GameStop's at 136
in history. It was and still is abundantly clear that those.
What's the volume looking like on Gemprex? Only got 1 million in the first 45 minutes.
The Fed's pandemic actions came without a cost. This negative real interest rate environment continues to distort markets.
Anything new on Gemprex?
Bubbles and punish savers. And the Fed has dramatically expanded its balance sheet with trillions of dollars in government bonds.
Just that clinical trial site.
A lot of debt and facilitating profligate government spending. For the past 18 months,
Uber's still going.
Fighting the last war, a mystery pathogen that led governments to collectively shut down the global economy when in fact
Word of wisdoms for getting more sleep. Arnold Schwarzenegger, sleep faster.
Projections. In response, the Fed has accelerated the termination of its bond buying program, and FOMC participants appear to be accelerating the process.
Oh, Caterpillar's coming back down. Let's go, baby. I still got like 4 days left on those contracts.
Going forward. First, I worry that the Fed's extraordinary response to the crisis could become the new normal for monetary policy. We're more than a year into a record economic expansion, with unemployment at near all-time lows, and yet the Fed is still today buying government and agency securities. Having continued QE through
excuse me.
It's contributed to
monetary policy,
all of which ultimately lead to lower economic growth.
No, the one talking right now, that's Mr. Toomey.
The Fed's new monetary policy framework has contributed to the Fed being behind the curve as we're seeing inflation running at a 39-year high. Under this new framework, the Fed intentionally tolerates above-target inflation.
They're just questioning why he did it and what was like. They just want to know what the reasoning behind it. The main thing to pay attention today is tracing inflation, climate policy, and ethic scandal. That's the main things that everybody's paying attention to right now.
Especially at the regional banks, wade into politically charged.
No, J. Powell does testify today. He testifies to the committee today.
Regional banks have hosted multiple symposia on these issues.
Oh yeah, he's on today though. Yeah, he'll be on today. Him and that other Fed speaker.
Political agenda.
What the fuck's her name?
And the Fed itself,
I forgot what the fuck her name was.
Of central banks and supervisors for greening the financial system.
But everybody's paying attention to J. Powell. I don't give a fuck about the rest of them. The questions they ask are going to lead up to whatever we're waiting to hear for, basically.
Transition toward a sustainable economy.
The main one I'm waiting for is the 25th to 26th. That's where we're going to find out exactly how much. That's when they're going to actually do the rate hike.
The troubling politicization of the Fed puts
or,
independence and effectiveness.
Give us confirmation on it. Gemprex at 244. What are we open up at today? We opened at 235. Slowly coming up.
Operated largely apolitically to great effect. There's a kind of bargain here. The Fed is given independence.
It's crazy how one person can speak and move the market, man. Everybody's focused on that one guy, and that one guy says something stupid, the market will go south. All he has to do is say something good, the market will go north.
Instead of social policy, then there's no way it's going to maintain its independence. from the political branches of
The
government.
thing that's different about this one, though, is now they're expecting Fed Powell to, you know, address climate, which is fucking crazy.
That are irrelevant to its mandate. Like
Fed website shows we're estimating inflation between 7.1, 7.3. I think we're closer to 7.6, 8. Yeah, I want to say 8, 9. No bullshit. That's what I'm thinking.
With reasonable requests. Unchecked, it will not end well for the Fed.
We'll see what Fed Powell does, though, man. We will see. He's a smart guy.
I hope you take this seriously and rein it in to protect the Fed's legitimacy and independence. Now, I've observed that the Fed has had the good sense to adjust its behavior as the facts
Well, who knows?
regarding inflation have come in differently than were expected.
The market didn't like what's been said in the last, like, 5-10 minutes. The last 5 minutes, the market didn't like that.
Or our Democratic colleagues. They appear set on making the inflationary problem
the market
worse,
said, nah, we ain't taking that.
further causing declines in real wages.
Isn't it inflation
reckless
self-reported?
spending
Oh, just kidding. That was my market manipulation joke for the day.
Combination will push prices for basic goods higher. The price of
That's good.
inflation complicated by
Damn, Gemprex is back at the VWAP.
as if it's still March of 2020. The Fed cannot correct for policy failures. Like
What's up, Stock Raider? You all owed $1,000 on fun.
the welfare state, nor should it try. Chairman Powell, the role of the Fed chairman is crucial for our shared economic.
The guy said he was surprised at his renomination.
Your renomination, and I hope that you will do everything in your power to ensure that the Fed operates within its limited mandate to
Limited mandate.
the American economy.
Thank you, sir.
Remember, whatever Powell's about to say is prepared.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear?
Yeah, Trump platform should be out next month.
Give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So now they're swearing. Now Fed Powell's going to speak.
Agree or to appear and testify before any
They're just may have swearing them right now.
United States Senate.
It's going to rip. Fuck yeah, Stock Raider. D-Walk's going to go. D-Walk and fun. All right,
we
Fed
welcome
Powell.
you to the committee. If you'd like to introduce family or friends, feel free.
No. We don't need to do all that shit. Let's just get to the fucking point. Stop wasting time. Where's our $20 an hour? Right?
Thank you. Is this on? Yes, thank you. I didn't bring any family or friends here today in light of the limited seating circumstances.
Yeah, I got D-Walk. Yeah, D-Walk.
Testimony. Thank you.
D-Walk's in a pop next
Chairman
week,
Brown,
next month.
Member Toomey, and other members of the committee.
D-Walk's at
thank you for
57
the
right now.
opportunity to appear before you today.
Yeah, Fun does
I'd like to
follow it.
thank
Last time it
President
ran up,
Biden
Fun was
for
right behind it.
nominating me to serve a second term as chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. I would also like to thank my colleagues throughout the Federal Reserve System for their
He said, "Fuck
dedication,
my AC
perseverance,
HR."
and tireless work. on
I'm
behalf
still
of
in
the
that play
American
too,
people.
bro.
Their commitment and expertise were
I'm still
essential
in it.
to the Fed's response to the COVID-19 crisis.
I'm in it to win it. Well,
and
maybe
the
not right now, but
the
fuck.
implementation of monetary policy as our economy continues to progress. Particular thanks go to my wife.
Give it a shot, man. I love when they
and
do
our
this
three
shit right here. They
children,
give their little
Susie, Lizzie,
fucking,
and Sam.
they give their
love
blow
and
shout
support
outs and
make
shit.
possible everything
It's
I do.
already occasionally being talked
My five
about on the
siblings
news in a
are
couple
all
of weeks. It
watching,
will be
or will later
non-stop.
claim to have watched.
Without a
And
doubt,
we are
Stock
thinking
Raider.
of each other and of our parents today with love and gratitude.
Ah, I love this right here. That's so cute.
4 years ago.
That's so
when I stepped
touching right
into
there,
this
pal.
committee, few could have predicted the great challenges that would soon become ours to meet. On the eve of the pandemic, the U.S. economy was enjoying its 11th year of expansion, the longest on record.
God bless America and bless my soul.
Unemployment was at 50-year lows, and the economic
You
benefits
know?
were reaching those most on the margins.
Oh man, motherfuckers
No
aren't ready for it, bro.
economic
They don't realize how much of a hawk this
ongoing.
motherfucker was back in the day.
But this attractive
This
picture
dude wasn't such a
turned
sweetheart.
virtually
Like
overnight
everybody
as the
knows him
virus
to be
swept
pumping
across
out
the
that
world.
money. Fuck no.
The initial contraction was the fastest and deepest on record, but the pain could have been
Shit,
much
prior to
worse.
2020, I did not like J Powell
Our
at
immediate
all.
challenge
Fuck that
was to stave
guy.
off the full-scale
Since
depression,
2020, he started
which would
turning the
require
money
swift
printer on. I was like,
and
all right,
strong
cool. He's all right.
policy
He's not too
actions
bad
from
now.
across
He's
the
okay.
government. Congress provided by far the fastest and largest response to any post-war economic downturn.
Markets
The Fed
are
used
kind
a
of slow
full
though
range
right
of
now, huh?
policy tools at our disposal. We moved quickly to restore vital flows of credit to households, communities, and businesses, and to stabilize. the financial
AT&T still holding up at 26 bucks. That's
collective
nice.
policy action,
Goldman Sachs
the
is ready for
development
4
and
hikes this
availability
year.
of
That's what they are
vaccines,
saying. That's
and
what they're
American resilience
expecting to
for the
happen.
economy. First,
But a lot of motherfuckers have been expecting a lot of shit this year, and it hasn't been happening.
A historically strong recovery. Today, the
I'm
economy
tired of
is
them
expanding
stroking their
at its fastest
penises
pace
on
in a
stage
year.
all the time. Just how bad is it, man?
As
Just
always,
tell me.
challenges remain. Both the individual shutdown and the subsequent reopening of the economy were without precedent. The economy has rapidly gained strength despite the ongoing.
All this shit's already
giving
pre-prepared
rise to
right here.
persistent
I just want to see how the market's going to
demand
take it,
imbalances and
even though it's
bottlenecks
already
and
pre-written.
to elevated inflation. We know that high inflation exacts a toll, particularly for those less able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation. We are strongly committed to achieving our statutory goals of maximum employment and price stability.
Yeah, I think that once they start selling those bonds, they're just going to keep that money on the side, and that's how they're going to fight inflation. They're not going to put it back in the market.
From becoming entrenched.
He doesn't sound like a robot, no.
Is likely to be different in some
Oh,
respects.
he does it, man.
And the pursuit of our goals will need to take those differences into account. To that end, monetary policy must take a broad and forward-looking view, keeping pace with an ever-evolving economy.
Yeah, I think that's the only way they're going to be able to address
Over
it
the
is
past
by
4
the
years,
money that
my
they
colleagues and I
are
have
going to
been
start
taking
selling
together
these
our
bonds. They're just going to put it to the
processes
side and
ensure
just let it
a
sit there.
strong and resilient financial system. We increased.
That's a
capital
lot of money that
and
they're going to
liquidity
just
requirements for the largest
fucking, they'll be
banks.
making.
And currently, capital and liquidity levels at our largest, most systemically important banks are at multi-decade highs. We worked to
Multi-decade
improve the
highs,
public's
huh?
access to instant payments, intensified our focus and supervisory efforts on evolving threats such as climate change and cyber attacks,
Well, they're talking,
and
man.
expanded our analysis. and
Jam Brex is
monitoring
going
of
for the
financial
high of the
stability.
day.
We will remain
244. Can
vigilant
it get past the
about new
244?
emerging threats. We
I
also
wanna say it
updated
will.
our monetary policy framework, drawing on insights from people and communities across the country to reflect the challenges of conducting policy in an era of persistently low interest rates. Congress has assigned the Federal Reserve important goals and has given us considerable independence in using our tools.
They
to
had
achieve them.
considerable independence. Really, they basically let the
That independence
let the
comes with
feds do what the fuck they
responsibility of
wanted.
transparency and clear
They said, run it.
communication to keep the public informed and enable effective legislative oversight. That duty takes on even greater significance when the Fed must take extraordinary actions in times of crisis. In order to facilitate that transparency and to earn your trust and that of the American people, I have made it a priority to
Oh,
meet
yeah, there we
regularly
go.
and frequently with you and your elected colleagues. And I commit
Yeah,
to
you better get
continuing
the
that
fucking,
practice if I'm confirmed to another term.
Oh, D-Walk.
The Federal Reserve works for all Americans. We know our decisions matter to every person, family,
Yes,
business,
they do
and
fucking
community
matter,
across
bro.
the country.
245, a new day high for Jim Brex.
Integrity,
What
and
trust, dude? I
impartiality
know, man. What
based on the best
transparency?
available evidence and in the long-standing tradition of monetary policy independence. That pledge lies at the heart of the Fed's mission and is one we all make when we answer the call to public service. I make it here again with force and without reservation. Everything we do at the Federal Reserve is in
Damn,
pursuit of
he's
goals
been the
set
Fed
by
chairman
Congress.
since
I'm honored
2012.
to have worked in service to those
Yeah,
aims
that
since I joined
motherfucker's
the
been in
Fed
there for a long time.
and as chair for the past 4 years. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Chair Powell. Many.
I think the only reason why
Americans
Biden
are
even
concerned
nominated him
about
because the
rising
motherfucker's
prices,
asleep,
and I
and he
think
said,
President
"Fuck it, he's been
Biden's
doing that.
decision
Just
to
keep him in there.
renominate you
Just
to
keep
a
him in
second
there."
term as chair shows he's confident you'll continue to lead our economy through this ongoing crisis. In November, you indicated that the rise of the Omicron variant,
Yeah,
586,000 new cases daily over the last week.
No more than
The rise of the
two.
Omicron variant posed significant risks to employment and economic activity. Do you agree that higher prices are related to the supply and demand imbalances that can be traced
the chairman's
directly
got a very
back to
important
the
job, though, man. They make very
economy?
important decisions for
Yes, I
for
do.
the economy
For
and
the
which
most
way it's
part,
going to go.
If you look back, and you can trace to developments, including strong demand and also.
Good thing with Powell is he doesn't let any of the presidents or anybody else kind of tell him what to do. He does what needs to be done. He's not like fucking Janet Yellen.
Related financial risk, which describes how climate change is a threat to our financial stability. In the past, you said, your words, climate change is an emerging risk to financial institutions, the financial system, and the economy, end quote. Will Chair Powell, will the Fed follow the FSOC report's recommendations, including implementing climate stress tests for the biggest banks?
We are looking at climate stress tests. I think it's very likely.
Climate stress test? What?
Stress scenario.
I know a fucking bank stress test is. What the fuck is a climate stress test?
From the regular stress tests, which affect capital,
Hello.
climate stress scenarios at this stage are really about assuring that the large financial institutions understand all of the risks that they're taking, including the risks that may be inherent in their business model regarding climate change over time.
What? Really?
Will you make this a top priority if confirmed to another term?
Well, it's his new job. I mean, fuck. It's the first time a chairman has to address climate.
As I mentioned, that is likely to be a very important priority over the coming years.
I think it's crazy that they put that on the Fed.
But also your
They were like, here, not only take care of the money, but you need to have some kind of policy for fucking
it's
climate
the Fed's
change.
responsibility, as you know, to promote financial stability. It means we need strong financial safeguards in place to protect American workers and families from risks in our financial system. It's all that. Chair Powell, recently the Fed has refocused its full employment objectives to make sure it includes workers of all backgrounds. Do you agree that when all workers, including women, including black and brown workers, are able to...
We'd be watching TV today. Nah, we're listening to the fucking federal Powell have his nomination today, and he's testifying against the Senate Banking Committee today, talking about fucking just the stuff he's done, why he's done it, what he plans on doing about some of the other policies that they're supposed to be putting in. Meanwhile, Congress and Senate sitting on their fucking hands, basically. Oh, the Fed's telling everyone to buy PLTR today. Hey, possibly, man. Everybody hopes for that. They're like, all he needs to do is just save my stock, and it's going to go to the moon, bro. Hey, pal, can you please say Jim Pranks?
Direct distributional effects, but I do think that we see now.
But what he's going to do right now, he's going to kind of give us a little guidance and a little bit of idea where we're going to go and what to expect for the end of the month.
But you are suggesting for
and Prague, don't forget Prague, man. That's fucking good, Alex.
Strong demand for labor.
Alex D, man, that's fucking funny, man. Tears in the positive. We got a lot of shit in the positive today, though.
Not done as well.
So far, the market is kind of liking what it's hearing from these fucking assholes right here. But we'll see. It could switch up real fast. Come on, Alan. Where's Alan? I seen him in here earlier.
Focusing on monetary policy.
Oh, yeah, actually, Alan's the one that woke me up. I got a little notification on my phone and fucking it said, where's Isaac?
I do think
I was like, oh, shit, time is it? It's like 7:10.
Is to make sure that...
Yeah, Alan's right there at 39 minutes ago.
Inflation side of our mandate, that we do foster a
Dave
strong...
Allen, this is why you should not invest in meme stuff.
Is part of
Not
that,
all meme stocks. There's a
diverse
couple that you should
workforce at the
invest in.
Fed?
Not financial advice.
But we work very hard to achieve diversity. And
Sorry, everyone. ASM going to zero, man. It's all right, Eric, bro.
These days.
You didn't push that buy button for me. I did it on my own. I did it on my own. They all can't be winners, Eric, man. Better luck with the next one, bro. I'm still holding ASM, though. Fucking believe it or not. Still holding it.
Thank you.
I just don't look at it no more.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
But yeah, it's way down there, huh?
Noted with great interest the shift in the Fed's.
We should have sold it at the top. You know what I mean? You're not lying, Eric. We definitely should have sold it at the top. So get the fuck out of here. It did have a good pump, man. It did have a good pump.
I'm trying to understand.
Would it run up to like 29 cents, 30 cents? Dude, we could have made some money if I'd have sold it. I bought it at 9 cents.
The fact that if we
could have made a good
had
couple
3 or
$100
even
bucks. It's
4
all right, though.
25
That's why it's
basis
even
point
more important to remember this year to not be afraid to take
still,
profits.
in my view,
If anything from last year taught me anything, it's you got to remember take profits when you feel like you're, especially when you're at the top.
Is it your view
Don't
that
be
it's
afraid to eat a
realistic
little bit.
to bring inflation back to the target level?
Try not to get too
If
greedy and
short-term
get more out of it.
interest
If you got
rates
winnings,
are
fucking
negative.
take it right now.
Real
Because
rates.
winnings are going to be slim and few to come across this year, I want to say.
What we have now is a
Focus on stocks again.
demand and supply.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too, Eric. Like, I'm not even really talking about crypto right now just because where it's at. And the main focus right now is in the stock market and with the Fed's raking hikes, because this is going to bring a lot of volatility to the market. And there's going to be money to be made in volatility. You just got to make sure, you get in the right play.
The return of greater supply.
Why do they think
I don't
you
think
to
we
one
will
another?
see
You know what I mean? They're blowing each other. A lot of them fucking hate each other. brother. Fluff for TV. All it is just fluff, man. They just make it sound good.
We'll get over the course of this year.
GMPX, punt, D-Walk, and the Quest of Therapeutic. Yep, just focus on a couple of them, and you'll be good this year, man.
If we see inflation persisting at high levels longer than
But for the next couple months, I'm just going to be playing the FDA plays.
If we have to raise interest,
FDA plays. I still got my Ford plays going. I still got Roblo plays running. I still have the short on Cat, which is in the money, but I think Cat can come down a little bit more. There's still a lot of meat left on the bone.
We can see that participation is moving only very slowly.
That's the only short I have right now is on
To get long
Caterpillar.
expansion, we're going to need price stability, and so in a way, high inflation is a severe threat.
Fucking
to
Jamprax
the
is still looking
maximum
fucking
employment
awesome over here, though.
expansion that could give us that.
I mean, hell,
That's very
this
tough.
$2
Let me
and
also
$2.50
just
range
ask
has
you,
just been chilling right there.
As I mentioned, I understood the need for quantitative easing.
Uncle Trump will make
extraordinary
DUI
measures
great
that were
again.
taken
Yes, he
during
will.
the crisis. But I worry that the Fed's decision to continue to use these policies well after
Normalization.
the crisis had passed, and in fact, we're in the midst of.
That's what everybody's afraid of. Normalization. Why the fuck are people afraid of normalization?
Behavior like.
Can't keep this shit going on forever.
So I think it's your view that it's important that this not become normal routine part of Fed behavior. But could you clarify that? And if it is important that this not become a routine matter, how do we ensure that it doesn't?
So, I guess I would start by saying that the last two downturns there's been nothing normal about them. They've been two historically large
Inflation and predictive
downturns, one being the
analysts
global
have
financial
gotten
crisis and one being the pandemic.
away
And we
from
did
Jay
we were
Powell. You
called
cannot
to invent new tools. and use
quantify
all
this
the tools.
anymore.
If we had
Which I think is
so really, if we
justified.
had a regular
Now
rate
we got
recession,
there's a
couple
different
of
issue.
quarters of negative growth, a typical recession, then the question would be, what do we need to do? And so in this era of very low interest rates, there's not going to be as much room to cut, but that would be the first thing that we would do. Now, as just because
A
we
completely different issue.
and probably remain in an era of very low interest rates, we would have to look at asset purchases as
That's positive.
the next tool in line, but we wouldn't. I don't think we'd automatically use it unless it was.
He said he won't use the balance sheet reduction unless he has
I
to.
would
That was a
certainly
positive right there.
Automatically use it. I would hope that there would be.
That's the top headline right there.
To get over, especially when you consider the ways in which.
What he just ended with was pretty good, though. That's a top headline right now, what was just asked.
As I mentioned,
How
in
about
opening
zero?
remarks,
We were
one of the
already.
things I'm very concerned about
Keep it at
is,
zero, bro.
especially
Keep it at zero like you've
when
been for the past 2 years.
The Fed's statutory mission on monetary policy into inappropriate and overtly political advocacy. Just one of many
He said
examples, the
inappropriately.
Boston Fed conducted a virtual event as part of its Racism and the Economy series, in
Oh,
which the
shit.
speakers routinely and adamantly called for defunding the police. Just nothing.
The
to
guy
do
in the
with
back
Fed's
looks like he's about to
mandate.
fall asleep.
For 7 months now, I've been asking for information.
He's like,
from
I don't want to be
several
here, man. This is
regional
fucking
banks about their
bullshit.
political
He's like, it's fucking
activism.
bullshit.
And for 7 months, they have simply refused to comply with my request. So I've requested some documentation from the main Fed with respect to this
FOIA.
activity, all of which, by the way, is subject to FOIA in any case. Now, I'm sure it's not your opinion that the ranking member of the Senate Banking Committee is entitled to less
FOIA
information
request,
than
huh?
a member of the general public would get through a FOIA request. So can you commit to getting me the information that is now long overdue?
So
He
I
did
am
put in
aware
a
that,
fucking FOIA
you
request,
submitted a
didn't he?
FOIA request and we're processing it
We're
now.
talking about
I don't know
inflation.
what's asked for,
Highlights,
but
it must be
it's actually
racist. So you
covered by
know, so I'm
FOIA,
like,
but
where'd
to the
that come
extent
from?
that it is, you will of course get it.
He caught me off. I was like, wait a minute,
I think
what?
It's very important that this
fuck we go to
committee
that?
and Congress understand how the Fed reaches decisions to engage in political advocacy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Toomey, Senator Reed from Rhode Island is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and Chairman Powell, congratulations on your renomination. I believe that President Biden has made two excellent choices, yourself and Governor Bernard. I think you worked together hand in hand for many years. I think you'd be a superb.
Here they go. They got to blow each other first. Whoops.
Also for Vice Chair.
Sorry about that.
And let me join my colleagues
Coughed up a lung real quick.
commending you for an exceptional job with respect to the pandemic. One of the
I don't know why the market just came.
consequences of the pandemic
Looks like
and
it
the
went south real
employment
quick.
market is that we've seen
Yeah, the market,
wages
for some reason, the
rise.
market didn't
In
like
fact,
that.
we've seen them
Market
rise
said,
with
what?
respect
Nah.
to, factory workers,
Market said, hold up.
personnel, about
Fuck did he just say?
5.8%. And my concern is would an increase in interest rates in anywhere begin to slow down that rise?
Man, I'm tired of hearing about interest rates and rate hikes. They've been talking about this shit since 2018. Fucking get it over with already, bro. Let's go. Thank you, Jail Pal. Now thank you, and now you can pull your pants down so I can pay my
If you look
fucking
back through history, there are times
paperback.
when
good, fucking-
wages have moved up in
It's
a
a
way
big
that
ass circle
fostered
jerk going on over there. That's
persistent
all it is.
inflation, and that
The guy
hurts
in the
everyone.
middle.
That particularly hurts
not
people
good.
with fixed income. So we don't see that right now, but we do see these are the biggest wage increases in decades, and so we're watching carefully.
They're way overdue, though. Way overdue.
You know, to the extent we are looking at this year, what we see is an economy that where the labor market is recovering incredibly rapidly.
Oh, yes,
Really beginning
incredibly
of
rapidly.
The middle of last year, the unemployment rate's been dropping.
But the
at
market's
more
not
than
inflecting
0.3%
fucking
per
everyday
month
fucking
since,
people, though.
Since last June, it's now below 4%.
The average
It's-
person
which
out there is
pretty close
fucking,
to,
man, they in the
you know,
hole right now.
century low. So that part is of the employment market is doing very well. Meanwhile, inflation's running very well, very far above our
Isn't it
target.
5 minutes
And
per
what that's
participant in
telling us
Congress
is
for
that
time?
the economy
How do
no
we ever
longer
address
needs
problems
once
with capping time at
very
5 minutes? You know, you
highly
gotta get it out quick, bro. You gotta get to your
policies
point
that
real
we have in
fast.
place
First,
to
you gotta
deal
blow
with
them the
the
first 2 minutes. Thank them,
So that's what that's
thank
really
them.
about.
This, and then you got the
We're
last 3
really
minutes
just
to
gonna be
fucking
moving
send it.
over the course of this year to a policy that is closer to normal, but it's a long road to normal from where we are.
Very long road.
Very highly accommodative, and it's
That's hawkish right there.
for us to begin to move away from those emergency pandemic settings to a more normal level. It really should not have negative effects on the employment.
Oh shit! This is gonna line up for the next big question.
It's ironic because, as you pointed out in your opening statement,
Oh
when you
yeah.
took over.
That's a
we
hawkish
had
statement
11
right here.
straight Years of significant economic growth, but that was not translated into the wages of most working people.
I've had 30 minutes that felt like 5 minutes.
Entry level and non.
Shit, yeah, that's hawkish. Jeff
And
Bricks
now we've seen
so
a
it didn't like
situation
that.
where that's reversed, and I would
A
hope
lot
that
of fuck
we
tech
can
came down a
continue
lot
that
right now.
type of progress. And I know you'll be sensitive to
It's a
that
very important question right here.
going forward. One of the interesting things about the situation we face now is that the Fed tools are probably most effective reducing overall demand. But a lot of what we're facing is supply problems.
Oh yeah.
You know, the situation about automobiles, the problem there, in fact.
Well, what the fuck's J
I
Powell
think
gonna do
used
about
cars
fucking
are so
supply issues?
expensive, they're distorting the inflation numbers significantly, and that's a result of the shortage of microchips and other types of chips, which is a result of the pandemic. These are supply issues. So to what extent will your dealing with demand help supply?
Yeah, I mean, how the hell is Powell gonna
Really,
directly affect
they really
supply
can't
issues?
directly affect supply.
Oh shit, he even said it.
That's the way I mentioned it.
He even
This
said it.
really is a problem both of
Like, how the
very strong
fuck?
elevated demand, particularly in a part of the economy, the goods sector, the durable goods sector, things like washing machines and cars and all the things that people bought during the course of the pandemic when they couldn't spend money on travel and services. That's where spending is running at a level 20% above where it was.
Damn, 20% above what it was prior.
Supply chains, most of which are
Oh yeah,
global.
yeah,
In most
that
cases,
makes
we're
that
getting
adds up.
Parts and fully assembled products coming in. So we can affect the demand side. We can't affect the supply side, but this really is.
Yeah, he can affect the demand or the demand side, but not the
final
supply
point I
side.
wanna make,
How the fuck is he
that,
gonna directly
the issue of
affect the
climate change
supply?
is absolutely critical. It's an economic issue.
Only thing he
I don't
did, what
think
they
you
did
want
was affect the
a lot of,
fucking demand.
Banks owning property that's literally underwater. But if you look at any of the analysis going forward, that could be the case.
He's more of a facilitator
So I would
rather
hope that the
than
Fed would
facilitator rather
view this
than
as
a
an
direct
economic
contact
issue
with
and
problems.
pursue it as an economic issue that's going to affect us dramatically. And
Basically,
my colleagues
huh?
in our White House has been one of the most staunch visionaries and advocates for that position, and I hope the Fed is responsive. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Reid. Senator Shelby from Alabama is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman
Let's see what
Powell,
Mr.
welcome
Shelby's
to the
question
committee.
is.
You've spent a lot of time with us in the past. Inflation is currently surging at its highest rate in 40 years. And while I appreciate the
Gemprex is down at the bottom down there, 233. It crashed right through VWAP.
I'm concerned that the Fed missed the boat on addressing inflation sooner. A lot of us are. And as a result of that, the Fed under your leadership
Where's
has lost a lot
DWAC?
of
DWAC is still
credibility.
holding up. Looks like it might want to make a leg up.
I only have a little time, so I have a number of questions, and I know you.
Damn, those
probably
four
remember
contracts
them
got
maybe
clobbered.
together,
Same with
remember
Roblo.
them, But I'd like to touch on this, if you would, like for you to. Why did the Federal Reserve initially forecast inflation to be transitory? Secondly,
Transitory, man. I fucking knew someone was going to say that word.
What assurances can you provide here today that the Fed has?
We already know what transitory means, man. God damn
Today on the
it. Fuck out of here with that
a
shit.
year ago, and so forth. And what factors have caused the U.S. to have greater increases in inflation?
AMC's about to go
compared
negative.
to other developed countries. And I guess lastly, yes, how important is price stability to the American people?
That's a lot of questions.
That's a lot of questions, but these are all relevant to
Damn.
your job. Thank you.
You said these are all relevant to your job.
Price
That's your
stability
fucking
is
job,
absolutely-
motherfucker.
There's no basis in the law for preferring maximum employment over price stability.
Oh, good
Vice
answer.
versa, they're equal.
Good answer.
However,
Caterpillar's coming
at
down
different
hard.
times, one of
Gemprex
them
is coming back
is
down.
its goal, and that's the one we need to
DWAC
focus
is
on.
starting to go for another leg up.
Sometimes that's maximum employment, sometimes it's inflation. I'd say now it's inflation. So
Caterpillar's about to give
on
it up. Let's
inflation,
see where's my
why
cat
do we
play
say
at.
transitory. We said that
That's the
because
only
we
thing
thought
fucking
that
holding me up
supply
right now,
side,
that little hedge.
Bottlenecks and shortages would be alleviated much more quickly than they have been. There's no empirical experience with this before. We haven't had the global supply chain collapse. We haven't had this kind of
Nope.
labor force shock before. So essentially
Caterpillar,
all
Caterpillar,
other
where the fuck are you at,
mainstream
Caterpillar?
forecasters forecasted that by now we'd be seeing much lower inflation.
The fuck is my cat
that's
contract?
not what happened.
Ah, there it
So
is
what-
right there.
What's changed
Yeah.
is that, just as I mentioned, the supply side constraints have been very persistent and very durable. We're not seeing really a lot of progress. If you look across, the global supply chains and what's happening domestically, look at our ports, look at Long Beach and LA, the two big ports on the west coast for Asia. The number of ships at anchor is still at a record
Crazy
level.
how many ships are
So
out there.
we're not really seeing yet the kind of progress we essentially all forecasters really thought we'd be seeing by now, and that's really what's driving it. I think we did foresee the strong spike in demand. We didn't know that it would be so. So that's really what
Really?
happened.
You didn't know that?
So I think we learned that it wasn't that. It was just. This is a unique set of circumstances. We haven't had. Really, the United States economy is so dynamic. The supply side adapts quickly. And there are new companies being started and old companies dying all the time.
He said there's
This is
new
a
companies
situation
dying
where
all the
there
time.
actually
There's new
are
ones starting
hard
every day.
Constraints. People want to buy cars.
New babies
Car
die every day.
automakers can't make any more cars because there are no semiconductors. So that's never happened. I can't think of another example of that, and that's true across. So what factors really is the supply side?
Is that what he just
Did I
said? He
miss
just said
anything?
babies die every day.
I like to think
Hey, yo,
just touched all five.
Fed
What
Powell
have
just
you
flexed on that
learned
dude.
And you would share with your fellow board of governors.
The guy didn't even respond back. Powell just flexed on him.
Grasp as much as you can on.
He said, "Look, bitch."
Because a lot of us have been on the committee a while, and we remember what Dr. Volcker did with the Fed under his leadership, and it was draconian, but it worked. I hope we won't have to do that. But
Oh, why
we
you
gotta
bringing
do
that
whatever
dude
we
up
have
for?
to do you agree?
We have to achieve price stability, and I believe we will, and I'm confident we will. And again, it's not.
He said he's confident we will.
It's not just a question of restraining demand, although that will be right now.
Confidence, all I need from you,
very
pal,
highly
confidence.
evaluated policy. As we move through this year,
The market
we
just
will-
like fucking
you know,
stopped
like
right there though. Oh my
we don't know
God.
the future, but
Everything's down about
develop
0.5%.
As expected, we'll be normalizing policy.
Where's the
meaning
VIX at?
We're going to end our asset purchases in March, meaning we'll be raising
VIX
rates
at
over
20.
the course of the year. At some point, perhaps later this year, we will start to. allow
He's
the-
avoiding the March rate
go
hikes,
to
but
normalizing policy.
some they're
That's
doing
what
it.
We're going to be doing.
But he wants to avoid it. That's what he just said.
Of course, we're committed.
That's how I
we
took what he
also
just said.
We do believe, and I think widely it is believed that these supply blockages will be alleviated too, so that there will be more supply as well, more labor force. But people will be coming back into the labor force. We'll see more recovery, although it's been slow from participation. And we'll see these global supply blockages coming down.
Did you say I'm not participating?
We'll see some more cars, although that's going to take some time. And that will help as well, getting supply and demand back.
Oh, Jen Frank's getting a little bit of bump down there.
Senator Menendez from New Jersey is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Not much.
Chair Powell, let me start by
Come on,
reiterating
Menendez.
a point that I've made.
Yeah, volume did get
unfortunately
snuffed
quite a
out
few
today.
times.
Everybody's
And the
just
latest
watching right
batch
now.
of, nominees leads me to, once again, the conclusion that there is a serious diversity problem.
This guy's gonna talk about the Latino fucking
Latinos
population.
are the country's largest minority.
Yep. He always talks about the
20%
Latinos.
of the entire U.S. population. It's outrageous that they have no representation
It's
in
outrageous.
Fed leadership. There's never been a single member of the Board of Governors or regional bank president that has lived the experience of being a
I knew
Latino in
fucking
the United States.
Mendes. This guy was
And that
always
means that
talks
the
about
voices
this.
of 1/5 of the country's citizens are repeatedly drowned out when
It's
the Fed
good
is
question.
making critical decisions on economic policy. Decisions that affect whether a Latino family can afford their first home.
Caterpillar's
find a job
coming
that
down a
pays
little bit
minimum
more
wage,
to
send their
1668.
children to college.
Genprex is still holding
save
at
for a comfortable
236.
retirement, or get a loan to expand their business. In late October, several of my colleagues and I sent you a letter requesting that you work closely with the Boston
Oh
and
wow,
Dallas
the open
banks
interest is
to recruit
getting
diverse
going over here
candidates
on these
for
other
their
contracts.
open president positions.
There wasn't that
We
much the other
received a
day.
response to that letter just last week, and I have to be honest with you, the lack of detail was thoroughly disappointing. I'd be expecting you to provide a more detailed update on the search process before your confirmation vote, including what specific changes you've made to the process and how they're going to lead
Where's
to a
D-Walk
more
at
diverse
58.85?
candidate pool, and I hope that you will do that. While we face
it's getting in this
significant
wedge again.
challenges with the Omicron variant and supply chain disruptions that are both causing families to face higher prices for a variety of goods, the fact is that we're experiencing a strong recovery from an unprecedented pandemic. Thanks to the American Rescue Plan and other policies put in place by Congress and the Biden administration, we gained an average of 537,000 jobs per month since President Biden took office. So, Chairman Powell, if you're confirmed, how would you continue
Biotech,
to
let me see if I
balance
can
the
find
Fed's
something real quick on
dual
this one.
mandate to keep price increases
Got
manageable
it.
while not
Why the
dampening
fuck am
the
I not
strong
signed in?
job and wage growth that we've seen over the past year?
So by so many measures, labor.
He did not confirm March right now. He said perhaps for March right now. He didn't confirm it though.
That I can remember.
We'll see how TLT and how the rest of the market takes us, but he didn't confirm that he was going to start raking it.
Labor force, the level of quits, or is labor economists look at the level of quits as a real indicator of how strong the labor market. The percentage of quits,
Anything
the
up
number
over
of
here
quits,
yet?
as at an
Anything?
all-time high. So
Any new news? Any new news?
the problem is not lack of demand for labor. The problem is that there's a significant
Now everything keeps
supply
popping up for Q1
problem,
of
which
this
is
year.
associated with the pandemic and a range of other factors. Participation has not recovered, but as you can see, for people who are in the
Yeah,
labor
that's the
force,
last news for
the
Genprex.
unemployment rate is dropping at historically fast
Very
levels.
bullish, Waldo. Very.
So we don't have a labor
He's saying he
demand
doesn't want
to
you,
solve by,
and they may
by-
not.
through our policy. What we have is a labor supply
That's
problem.
good for the market
So
right
what
there.
is
The
the
market
threat?
should take
Well,
that a
clearly
little
we're
bit better.
An even better labor market over time. What are the big threats?
I got
to what
TLT
we're
over here
doing
still?
now?
No, I
would say
don't. I gotta
right
keep an eye on
near the
TLTs.
top
Get
of
rid
the
of
list
cat.
Is the threat
TLT will kind of tell you what the market's going to do with
if
that.
inflation does become too persistent, if these high levels of inflation get entrenched,
Because what he's
in
saying
our
is
economy,
directly going to
people
affect
stay,
TLT.
then inevitably that will lead to much tighter monetary policy from us and it could lead to a
Like I know I've been saying we need to
And
trim
that
down on
we get it
TLT,
from-
but like I didn't.
So
We don't.
really,
TLT can't drop fast. It's a
achievement of
bond.
matching employment,
It's not
which
supposed
we
to
really
move
need,
fast.
continued
It needs to
progress in
slowly
hiring
give it up.
and
The way it did it the
participation.
last
It's gonna-
week, that
it's
was
gonna
way too
require
much. That shit was
price
crazy.
stability, and that's going to require us to
Yeah, fucking
use our
DWAC's right
tools
there at the high of
to
the
the
day,
extent they work
58.99.
on
It's about to hit
demand side, while we
59.
also expect some help from the supply side.
Do you expect inflation to
About to
subside?
bump through it right
as
here. Just need
vaccinations
some more
increase
volume.
and supply
Looks like
chains
it's
are
getting the
repaired?
volume picking up.
Over time, yes. Over time, the question is how fast, and the risks that we're running. in the
How
meantime,
fast?
That inflation psychology starts to get entrenched. But certainly, I believe that, and you make a great point.
Actually, I kind of thought we
about
were still going to have
vaccination.
record levels of
Getting ahead
cases.
the pandemic.
3 years
I don't think
later.
2 years ago, we thought we'd still be
Fun
having
popping on
record
firmware.
levels of cases, and even close to record levels of hospitalizations.
DWAC's at
Getting past the
59,
pandemic
new high of the
is
day.
the single most important thing we can do.
Now, finally, according to the New
You
York
are
Times,
59.30.
New Jersey, other parts of the Northeast
Firmware's
were hit
following it.
particularly hard at the beginning of the pandemic.
Firmware's at 269, 270, at
at
270,
most
just
strongly
hit
affected
270.
in November of 2020 in the South at the end of last summer. How closely does the Fed look
It's
at
getting a lot of
differences in
pushing and pulling
regional
over there on
performance
DWAC, though.
when making policy decisions?
We have to focus on the national level, but of course we follow, in this instance, the earlier Delta, for example, kind of COVID rolled around the country.
It's not
on a
the
regional
same
basis.
everywhere.
That's not so much the case with Omicron. It's so contagious, and it's not the same everywhere, but it really
not the
is
same
going through
everywhere.
the
Thank
whole
you, pal.
country at a pretty rapid rate. But we follow that very, very carefully.
Definitely
And
not
I
the same
would say we didn't
everywhere,
know much about
especially when you're talking about
vaccines
south of the equator.
and, pandemics 2 years ago, but we've all had 2 years to learn. So, but we defer. to the
DWAC's
experts, though.
third,
We don't
59,
we don't substitute our
40,
judgment
59,
on
40, another high of the day.
experts, but we
It's
talk
dragging
about
fun with it.
Well, I look forward to following up with you on the diversity question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Crapo is recognized from Idaho from his office, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And Chair Powell, welcome back to the committee. When you last appeared before the committee, I also asked you about an expected Fed report on digital currencies. You indicated that delays in releasing the report were because the Fed wanted to ensure that their analysis was correct and to complete,
Let's see if fucking
and that
DWAC
a
will
release
chill out
was
right
expected in the
there.
coming weeks.
I think it's going to make
However,
another
that
leg up on
report still
DWAC.
has not been released. Do you have an update you can share on the status of the report? And are there problems with sharing this report with Congress and the public and what the Fed may be proposing with respect to possibly centralizing
There goes
public
DWAC
digital
getting another
currency?
leg up.
So the report really is ready to go, and I would expect we will.
Firmware's about to run right now.
In coming weeks, but it really is in a situation where
It's got
ready to
such a
go.
smaller cap than
For us,
DWAC.
given,
It has the
changes in
possibility to
monetary
just
policy and
fucking
other things
skyrocket
going
here.
on. It was hard to we didn't get it quite to where we needed to get it. but
DWAC's about to hit
expected,
$60.
I will tell you,
Oh wait, Firmware has some news out, didn't it?
Publishing it. And by the
nah,
way,
there
it's
was no
more,
news on
it's more
Firmware.
going to be an
Never mind.
exercise in
I
asking
lied.
questions and seeking input from the public rather than taking a lot of positions on various issues.
Firmware 269.
All right, thank you. Well, as I hope that you'll be able to meet this couple of weeks projection. As you know, I've been asking you and the other members of the Fed about this.
God damn, bro, your mic is loud as
And
fuck,
I
dude.
really do believe it's time that the Fed release this report so that we can engage.
Damn, dude, get away from your microphone, old man.
I want to also, with the rest of my
Jesus
time,
Christ.
cover the issue of inflation. I know you talked about it a lot with us this morning.
This dude got a
In
fucked
response
up
to my
mic.
question about inflation last November, you confirmed
Somebody
that
mute his
inflation
ass.
pressures would certainly last, and you're through the middle of this year, of this coming year. What do you now expect?
Damn, hurry up, get your question out, bro, because you're fucking up my ear.
You last answered these questions in front of the committee. What do you now expect inflationary pressures to look like throughout this year?
Damn, dude, that motherfucker right there hurt my ear.
I wouldn't say things have changed much. On
There you
that
go,
front
Firmware
since last
270,
November.
new high of the
I think
day.
that
DWAC
inflationary
just hit
pressures do
$60,
seem to be
and it
on
looks
track
like they're
to
about to
last
run
well
both of them
into the
together.
middle of next year.
Way to
And
go,
if they
Stock
last
Raider.
longer
Good
than
call,
that,
bro.
then I'll just say that our policy will continue.
Everybody
to
else.
Our policy has been adapting.
I was starting
to
to
this,
move.
for some months. But if
It's
inflation
start
is going to last
skyrocketing
longer,
after
then
the fucking
that would
shit
potentially
today.
imply more risk of its persistence and
Fucking
ultimately
market's
becoming
crazy.
entrenched, and our policy will respond accordingly.
Whoa, wait a minute. You're supposed this year, bro.
Next year, did you mean this year or
You said next year. Whoa.
And then next.
I meant this.
Okay,
year.
I was gonna say, whoa, bro.
Sometimes.
Hey, I thought so, but I wanted to be sure what you were.
Yeah, this fool's fucking
You know,
my
with
ear up.
regard to the question of what's going to happen over the next 3 to 4 months.
D-Walk, 60-33. D-Walk starting to run.
You described,
D-Walk.
if consumer price inflation were to persist over the next 3 or 4 months at somewhere between 5 and 7%, as we are not seeing, and if the unemployment rate were
I'm on D-Walk. Get some more volume and just bump it through that 60-50.
what would you expect?
Oh, wait, did it hit 61 right now?
Would need to use,
Oh, wow, it did hit
would be-
60,
One
85.
of your responses on the inflation issue earlier today, I thought I heard you say that the Fed's overnight interest rate would still, even after you may use it as a tool, would still be very low. Could you just discuss I know you can't predict this.
Powell, inflationary pressures likely to last in the mid-2023.
Looks like as you utilize that tool.
Sure. So
D-Walk pop 61 22.
we're at a place where
61-36.
and
There goes Funware.
target, and the economy no longer needs these this very
Gemprex is over here
high
fucking
stance policy.
barcoding, and TLT's
And I
coming
would
back up,
expect
so
that this
TLT
year,
is liking what it's hearing so far.
2022, will be a year in which we take steps toward normalization. That will involve raising the federal funds rate. That will involve ending
Yeah,
asset
Funware just
purchases
went
in
vertical
March.
right there on that one.
And perhaps later this year, depending on the run of things, we would also see ourselves
Pending
beginning to
the
allow
tapering,
balance
but he's not saying if he's going to
so
raise in
that's-
March
I
yet.
think
Listen to
that's
this
the
guy.
broad picture of what I see happening. The committee hasn't made any decisions about the timing of any of
Look
that.
here, right there.
I think we're going to have to be both humble and a bit nimble here.
Tapering will end in March, but then he's not talking about raising the rates. He's talking about the balance sheet.
Vaccines were arriving. I think that in my thinking there was the idea.
This dude is very humble and
that
nimble,
let's get
man.
past the pandemic, and it has helped a lot, but yet we're at all-time record cases and approaching.
This
record
dude's
deaths.
buying more time for us.
The thing has stayed with
I don't
us
think he's
longer.
still
I think we're
fixed
going
on
to
it
have
yet.
to be open to the changing environment, and monetary policy is going to have to adapt as we learn more. And then we're going to learn a lot about the path of inflation, particularly as it relates to these supply-side blockages we've had over the course of the first 6
Wow.
months of the year and every month.
I was not expecting Fed Powell to come out like
do I
that and say
understand-
that.
Are you saying that if the pandemic remains problematic and aggressive, that would impact the timing of any decisions the
Pay
Fed might
attention to
make
this.
in terms of the federal funds rate?
So I'd say it could, but what's happening
Fucking
is the
phone, we're
economy
gassed
has
at
made all
270,
these gains
75.
in the face of two-
D-Walk's going for
or
62 bucks.
2021, we had two
Looks like
major
Funware's really moving right now. Yeah, they're really going 62 right now for, or
and
61.70 on D-Walk.
was dominated by a very
$22.80 on fucking Funware, and D-Walk's about to break through 62.
In the labor market in 2021,
Right.
and growth is
It's
at
to
a
gas it right now.
high in 2021. So I
And they just
expect
blow
the
right through
economy
the
to continue
62.
to be able to deal with these outbreaks. I think it is likely.
I'm
that
on Uncle Trump.
if the
You
experts
can
are
do
right
it.
and
You can do it.
Omicron is
61.83 was the high. It's a new high.
Perhaps within a month, and then come down after that. I think it's likely you will see.
It looks like Funware has there's less pushing in Funware.
And growth and that kind of thing, but it should be short-lived. It should be, and then the economy, the forecast for the rest of the year, or certainly for the next quarter or two, would be a very positive one. Very positive.
And if that happened, would that
But-
increase the likelihood of actually increase the federal funds rate, or would it delay that?
If that all happens, I think what we're seeing is an economy that functions right through these waves of COVID, and my colleagues and I see that, and you see that every quarter we write down projections of interest rates, their individual projections.
Funware and D-Walk are about to run again.
Anything like that. But broadly speaking,
What are we looking like over here? Are they up here on the volume and turnover or anything?
This year, the median was 3. But that's going to depend on data. It's going to depend on the progress we see on the supply side, the progress we see
No, I
on
don't see
inflation.
D-Walk or any of them on there.
And we honestly don't know. There's risk on both sides, really, on growth and potentially on inflation as well. So we're going to have to be just very attentive to what's happening
Rivian's
in
down
the
there,
economy,
Google.
willing to adapt.
There it goes,
pretty nimbly.
282. There's a new high for fun. Fucking
Yeah,
D-Walk's about to blow through that
Thank you,
fucking
Senator Crapo.
62.
Senator Tester from Montana is recognized.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if there's any way to turn that mic down, but that was almost painful. I mean, it was tough. Not your questions, Crapo, just the intensity.
He called him out on his fucking webcam. Yeah, that shit was fucked up, right? Mr. Tester told him, like, bro, your fucking microphone sounds like shit.
He
called his ass out.
Many have said before me,
That's
I appreciate
fucking
your
funny.
steady hand.
This shit is
In
funny
your opening
sometimes.
statement, you talked about climate change and cyber attacks, taking those into account.
Somebody told him about that fucked up microphone.
As part of
Boeing
the-
delivers 38 jets, including 52 MAX aircrafts in December. Boeing has backlog of 4,250 orders and some other bullshit in there.
December was the warmest ever, and last year was the 4th warmest year.
That's funny. He called that dude out on his
And
microphone.
I think that's a conservative.
All right, D-Walk and Fun hit a little bit of resistance at the top end right there.
More crops and crop
Looks like they might come back to VWAP.
I say that because I hope you will continue to gather as much information as possible about what needs to happen as this climate situation appears to be getting worse and not better
Excuse
as
me.
time moves on. The American taxpayer deserves that.
Oops.
Look, the challenges that we've had because of this pandemic, it's fair to say that the Federal Reserve has helped us get through this.
Unless it's able to get some support here and take off again, then it looks very bullish on D-Walk and Funware.
Could you compare the economy
I want to say that's what the 9-day is.
pandemic a year ago and today, and tell me where we're at in relation
It's
to
right there at the
those
5-day.
3 different points in time?
Sure. So the pre-pandemic economy, that was a very long, historically long, 10 years and 8 months expansion. Growth was
These guys are kind of putting me to
just
sleep a little bit.
modestly above
Prague
potential
back at unchanged.
every year, so we were getting growth between 2 and 3%, and we think potential
Looking like
growth
on the
is
order
around
book
2%.
blows
So
over here. Don't give me that shit. There's no data.
So we have this long, relatively uninterrupted period of growth, and what happened is unemployment kept coming down and participation kept coming up, and that was very beneficial. So you saw people around the edges of the labor market getting more wages. We saw companies going to prisons and recruiting people who weren't going to get out.
Oh, that looks strong for Funware and D-Walk. Come on, baby, keep going it.
Labor market. So that's pre.
You just got to get this big candle right here.
So then
It's
the
got to
pandemic
pop.
comes and it upends everything, so the question
Long
is,
way out of it.
How's it going to be different? And we're only beginning to see that because we're not out of the pandemic.
Long way
we're
from
a long
it.
way from out of the pandemic potentially. But so what are some of the things that we're seeing that are with us now? One of them is that the recovery in labor force participation overall.
He
has
said,
been
read my
slower than
lips
hoped.
while I
Actually,
say it
findings
again.
labor force
We're a
participation
long way
moved
away
up a
from it.
percentage point almost last year. That was offset significantly by.
Excuse me, there goes D-Walk and Fun. I got a nice big candle in there. That's looking pretty bullish.
Retiring. So we're seeing some differences.
Just needs to
We're
keep it
also-
up.
We're going to see people working remotely. There's the wage increases that we're seeing are still very
Bitcoin's
skewed
popping
to the
back
lower
up to
end
42.
of the
It's
income
getting some
spectrum.
steam in over there.
So
Roll
there may be
blows.
something happening
Man,
there
they put my boy in the gutter over there, man. Fucking
Wages are just going
$80.
to be higher for people.
Fucked up.
And we don't know whether any of this will persist, but some of those are some of the things that we're seeing. I know employers who are hiring younger people out of school are finding that they have to have one day to work from home, or they'll go to someplace else where they can get that. So it's a place, it's a market right now where labor is very short. As a result, workers have a lot.
Nah,
of leverage.
motherfuckers just tired of getting
And that may
shafted, bro.
persist.
Okay?
So I think there's a lot of different things.
Hard.
I've just got a limited amount of time here, but could you speak a little bit about the importance of the independence of the Fed?
Motherfuckers are tired of getting paid too little.
The kind of pressure that was put on you by President Trump to try to politicize the Fed. And I commend you on keeping it independent. Could you talk about why that's
Oh,
so
phone
important?
wire and that shit
Sure.
pop
So
already.
it's essential that we.
It's right
we work
there. It's
for
doing
all
strong.
Americans, and that's what we do.
The
And
buyers really did
it's
come in
essential
and
that we
held
do
it up
without
right there at that
regard
high.
to Political
Both DWAC and
like
phone wire.
election cycles or particular
There it
political
goes. Come on,
parties'
DWAC. Get
views
above
on
that
issues
high.
that are outside our mandate. You know, we have to focus on the job. Congress
Phone
has
wire
given
made
us,
another
which is
high.
maximum
DWAC's
employment
trying.
access.
Phone wire is at
And
285.
also the payment
Looks like
system
it's
and
dragging
financial
DWAC.
stability
They're
of
dragging
the-
each other up.
But we
DWAC's
gotta
at
do that, and
$62.
that is the-
62 on
that is what
DWAC.
we need
Phone
to
wire
do to
should be able to hit
justify
$3.
independence, and
It's
we're
at
committed to
284,
doing that.
280,
Thank you,
286.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Tester, Senator Rounds from South Dakota is recognized.
62
Thank you,
bucks,
Mr.
62.25 on
Chairman
DWAC.
Powell, first of all,
DWAC's
let me
really
congratulate you
starting to
on
move
being
now.
selected to serve a second term as the chair of the Federal Reserve, and I do look forward to
Nah,
supporting
they're
your
slowing it down a
nomination.
little bit. Seems so fucking nerfed
I
though.
want to follow up a little bit with regard to the discussion on inflation. And consumer price index rose 6.8% in November. There appears to be a
PLTR is
consistency
positive though. It's
along
up at
that line.
1676 right now. Just
Part of
chilling
that,
out right there. It's trying to get back above
you have
VWAP.
the opportunity to impact with regard to the demand.
And we got
side.
Euro close in about
Can you talk to us
22
about
minutes. See what
your
the fuck that does for the
discussions, or
market.
at least your analysis of how much of the inflationary trends we're seeing you have the ability to impact.
There you
with
go,
your monetary
fucking
policy.
DWAC. 62.66. A new high of the day.
We don't have much ability to affect the supply side.
That volume needs to
If you
just
look at
really
what
open up
big
over there.
Contributors are to the overshoot from inflation. It's in the goods sector still largely, and that's cars, that's new, used, and rental cars. It's
Buy a hamburger over $5 a
appliances
pound.
and
What about food?
goods. Food too.
Hamburger at over $5 a pound.
Yeah, no, well, and that's not something we can't. I'd say that there's supply side issues there too, as you and I have discussed, but those are really outside the range of our.
Be fair to say
tools.
petroleum products as well.
You mean like KY?
Gas.
KY
That's
jelly?
gas over
Nah, they don't use
$5
that shit on us.
Yeah.
a gallon. Those are items that are supply side. They are not the demand side, and yet
That's right.
you have a responsibility. to try to
$63 for
bridge the
DWAC. Right there it is.
2% or so.
Right.
But the supply side of this is a
$63
significant
on
part of the
DWAC
entire
and still
inflationary
moving.
demand. Fair to say that your focus is on the demand side, not the supply side, correct?
That is right. That's correct.
So what percent of that inflationary trend, what percent of that are you trying to impact with the demand side monetary policy that you have the ability to impact?
It'd be hard to break it down in that way. I would say it this way though. Right now, our policy is very highly accommodative, so we're stimulating.
Whoops.
We're not restraining.
There it goes.
at all.
DWAC is
We're
really taking
trying to
off.
Get to a place where we're more neutral and then perhaps tight, if that's appropriate.
But it's not political in nature, it is economic in nature to say that
Jam
the
price is
inflationary
down on
trends
the
that we're
bottom.
seeing
It's negative
partially
0.85. Still not that
from
bad though.
the
It's still
ability,
held up pretty well.
of consumers with cash in their pockets to
63.53
be
on
able
a
to pay a higher
DWAC.
price.
Huh?
But second of all,
You gonna get a
it's
64?
because of the limitations and the
going for it.
bottlenecks that we find within the supply side of our economy, correct?
Yes.
So let's just take food as an example. I come from South Dakota where cows outnumber people.
Cows
And
outnumber
we
people.
have producers there that on a regular basis talk about the fact that they don't see an increase in what they're receiving for livestock. and
Nope,
yet
they're fucking
our
sure
consumers
not.
across
They're
entire
getting the
country
same. Actually, they're
are
getting a
seeing
little
huge
less
increases in the price of meat.
because they're
And
saying
in between
fees
that,
of other shit are driving the prices down on her or some
pork
bullshit.
packers who control over 80% of the market, showing record high profits, while consumers pay huge inflated prices. That's something which has to be dealt with policy.
DWAC is mooning, baby. Let's go,
This is
pop.
something
It's
that
damn it.
can
Look, it
impact,
came back.
correct?
Ah, damn it.
Competition
What did you do, Pop? What did you do?
Do we have the same
Yeah, I hope it
type
don't
of
get
challenges
halted,
with
bro. I hope it
regard
keeps
to
going. It's
other
doing well though.
products
It's doing
that people
nice.
consume
It's
on a
just
daily
don't. I don't
basis?
want it to
By
come
that I
back
mean
down here though.
Petroleum products are something that I
What you
I
do, bro?
truly
You jinxed
believe
it. Oh,
the
you're not
price
fucking around.
rise in petroleum
It's taking what it's here pretty nice right now. Fun wear in
really
DWAC.
impacted
the ability of people
Let's see if it
actually
needs to stay above here
pay
though.
their mortgages or pay their rent.
It's looking solid though. TLT started to take off a little bit.
They were going to put food on the table before they were going to pay a mortgage. Do we
Nah,
have
it's
a
looking pretty
similar
bullish
type of
over there.
situation
Very
developing
bullish,
here with
Pop,
regard
for fucking
to
both DWOC
individuals
and
that
phone work.
are trying to get to work, paying a higher price.
The
for
buyers
gas
are
line.
definitely been coming in and buying it when it comes down
now
though.
They're seeing the
That is looking
possibilities
very
of other
solid.
things going by the wayside.
That is right. I mean, gas prices are
Don't be
high,
scared to take a little bit of profits. I mean, don't be like,
gas
fuck, it
prices
can
and
keep
food
going. It can
prices
keep
are-
going.
And heating oil prices, are the kind of things that affect people who are living paycheck to paycheck on a fixed income.
And not necessarily something that you can do at the Fed, but nonetheless, it does impact inflation. And it's
DWOC
something
chart
that would
looks
probably have to
fucking
be addressed
retarded.
with the regulatory environment that we
Yeah,
have
doesn't it?
in this country.
It's looking very bullish though, because they
We
keep
can have
coming in
market
and we're
effects on
just
demand, but
we're not dropping
really
lower
when it comes
than
down
where
to
the
food,
sellers are
those
pushing it down to.
largely importantly influenced by supply side issues.
Thank you. And I would just add this. I know that with regard to regulations, the Fed has been considering whether or not to make permanent adjustments on a separate item to the supplementary leverage ratio, or SLR, in order to account for
SLR.
significant influx of cash that consumers have.
42,000 on
Banks have
Bitcoin.
to
Okay,
basically
pop.
have
Right. Hopefully it doesn't get
cash.
halted, bro. That's the only thing we don't need, man. If it gets
Those
halted, it's gonna
deposits.
spook all the fucking
I would
buyers
just
and
hope-
shit.
I would consider that
They'll run
you,
off.
Continue to look at considerations with regard to the adjustments on the SLR. so that we
Yeah,
actually
the guy
have
that's
the ability
operating the
to
whole
accept
system right now, he's on a whole nother level right now.
in the future, sir.
He's been doing some stupid shit over there. Looks like they want to make another leg up.
We want risk-based capital.
Once a firmware gets to fucking $3, that's when it's really gonna take off.
Them to be done in ways that don't reduce the overall bindingness of the capital requirements on the largest firms. That's an important.
And Prick
principle.
still let it do his
Within
thing.
that,
It's gonna probably be
we
at
think
least,
there's some
I want to
things
say,
we
2-3
do
weeks.
on the SLR that honor that first principle.
Might be sooner though. It may
Thank
be
you,
sooner.
Chair. Senator Warner from Virginia is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Chair Powell, let me join my colleagues on both sides of the aisle and thank you again for your service. I'm going to pick up a little bit where.
I mean, so far what he's saying isn't that bad. It's not. It's pretty much. It's coming off a little dovish.
Pandemic economy, and post-pandemic economy. You said in your
Come on,
testimony,
D-Watt, keep moving it.
Pandemic economy is likely to be different in some respects, and that quote the
PLTR is making a little bump up to VWAP.
Take these differences into account. What are some of those differences?
So a lot of shit's just chilling at
Changes
VWAP.
in employment patterns.
Oh, now watch out for like a rotation out from these ones that are winning right now and into the ones that are losing.
Talk a little bit more about in that post-pandemic.
I've been noticing that trend where people have been just rotating out from the winners and then going into the losers.
How it affects the Fed's decision making, and will there be actually any economic indicators that might be have a new emphasis, or even be new economic indicators in this post-pandemic economy? Hopefully, we get to.
We're just beginning to see this sort of emerging from the fog, so it's all very indefinite. But you mentioned supply chains. The supply chains we had pre-pandemic were very efficient and pretty fragile. And so I think companies, since the very beginning of the pandemic, have been looking at ways to have more robust supply chains.
Labor
that won't be,
force
subject to these kind of
participation is
disruptions
what
that we've had now
is
for 2
that.
years. That's one. Another I mentioned earlier is labor force participation has been much
DWAC
slower
is
to
giving
come
it up a
back
little bit.
than we
Same with
hoped
fun.
for.
They're coming back down to the
level
20-day moving averages.
of employment that's
Pretty
consistent
quick.
with price stability is something that can evolve over time, and we have to deal with the economy as we find it. Right now, we have very high inflation.
TLT
and,
starting to move again.
Is at multi-decade highs, which are not causing the current inflation at all, but something that we're watching. And we want participation to come back, but it's been quite slow. We have to deal with the fact that it probably will take a long expansion to draw people back into the labor market.
Wow.
Just to speak
Wow.
to
Look at
many
the
of them.
fucking
For
market.
example,
That's
childcare being one of those
crazy.
factors, we
It
still
just
have
took off out of
a
nowhere.
large percentage of the workforce, particularly women in the workforce's participation is still
far, the
down.
market's
If we
taking
don't
it pretty
find a
well.
way to provide adequate, affordable childcare, is that not going to be a long-term disruption?
It's clearly weighing on participation still.
Childcare,
Although,
that shit's expensive
participation
as
has
fuck,
moved back up
man.
among women as well, but
I think we were paying like $700 a week or some shit like that. It was like $500, $600 a week.
That weighs on participation by people.
Prior to the pandemic. I don't know what it is right now, but shit.
On the supply chains, we, a lot of us, at the beginnings of this pandemic, raised concerns about being dependent on sole source, for example.
Let's see if
whether
D-Walk
it's
gets support right there.
the base
Because if
chemicals
D-Walk
that go
gets
into
support
our
off that
pharmaceutical
22,
drugs,
it'll
PPE
fucking
coming from China.
firmware will just
I think some of these changes are going to be permanent.
should get
We know
sympathy
that
off of
Congress
it.
needs to act to make sure that we don't maintain that dependence, but something I think we're going to need to continue to revisit. I want to come to another topic that you and I have talked about a long time. Out of the pandemic, we saw
This guy's always got good questions right here.
on minority communities. We lost
So
440,000
fucking Warren
Black-owned businesses.
always got some good
A lot of the
questions.
delivery mechanisms that we put in place.
Motherfucking
The
Warner.
Paycheck Protection Program, well-intentioned, but clearly
There we go, baby. The SPY is green. I mean, everybody was saying it was a crash yesterday. You can't say it was a crash yesterday when the NASDAQ finished green. I mean, a crash is everybody in the red. So, motherfuckers are full of shit.
CDFIs and MDIs. But
So, I mean,
there's
that's
still
pretty
needs
good
to
right
be
there. Look at that
some
shit, huh?
conversations. You know,
Dow
for example,
Jones is still fucking holding us back, though, a little bit. But
private
he's a
sector's
fatty over
indicated
there.
They were going to put up about $200 billion to help deal with racial wealth gap issues. But we continue to hear that there are a number of entities that might want to, for example, invest in MDIs, minority-owned depository institutions, with no intent of changing control. But
Roll Blow's
they can't
trying to
make
get
those
back up at the
investments
high of the
because
day, too. And Bitcoin is at 42.33. Damn, it just got an extra 300 bucks there in the last, like, 5-10 minutes.
I think as well, we need to look at, for example, a non-emergency discount window that would be geared towards CDFIs and MDIs, modeled after the seasonal discount windows that already exist on a non-emergency basis. Can you speak to how you and the Fed can work with me and others on this committee to make sure that CDFIs and MDIs that are going to continue to play, I think, an increasingly important role in serving underserved communities don't get blocked by some of these regulatory barriers?
Yeah, so we've talked about this a lot. We're very focused on what we can do to support CDFIs and MDIs. We did see in the recovery from the pandemic, in a number of cases where they were the ones who were there in poor communities delivering credit. And
Hey, whoa, what happened?
nonetheless, so what
Motherfucking-
are we doing?
everything went dead.
As you know, under
There it goes,
reset,
good.
we've been
All right, so we
working
got a little bit of
together
selling on
with
D-Walk and
agencies
Funware,
to
not too much though. Funware did come back down to this
investments in a way that
276. This is when it got the first red candle off that little run up right over there. So it's right there where it's at.
There's a range of things that we're doing.
It'll probably come back
want
and
to
test
foster
VWAP, though.
investment in CDFIs and MDIs under the law.
PLTR is still
I would
just
ask
chilling right there.
that we continue this.
A lot of shit's
line,
moving
but
real slow right now
For
though.
those entities and private capital that wants to come
Bitcoin
into
has
these
jumped up to
institutions
fucking
with no intention of trying
42.4.
to take over control, whether we set up a different class of stock or some of
Ford's coming back alive.
private capital to flow into these without triggering the change of control requirements that frankly at this point prevents a lot of those investments. So I appreciate what we've worked on so far, but much more to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, we got
Thank you, Senator Warner.
some big shit coming in over there.
Senator Tillis is from North Carolina, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair Powell, thank you for being here. You mentioned in your opening statement you committed to regular and frequent contact. I can attest to the fact that you have regularly contacted my office, and anytime we've had a request for a conversation, you've been very prompt, so I appreciate you for your responsiveness. I want to talk a little bit about the current extraordinary inflationary pressures and the tools that the Fed has to deal with it. Of course, you could have a benchmark rate increase. We know what that
D-Walk
would
is
have as a
looking pretty good where it's
consequence
at.
for
It just needs
raising
to
the
pull
price
fun
of
up back with it.
and ultimately affecting the cost of
D-Walk's
buying
looking a
car
lot
or
more
buying a house
stronger
or
than
just
Funware is.
making ends meet. Your other option is to reduce the balance sheet, particularly from some of the
SPY's
code
really
area
stretching
bond
its legs out
programs.
right now.
I believe that it was
The Dow Jones catching up. Now the Dow Jones is still kind of fucking NASDAQ is just skyrocketing right now.
Inflation, the Fed should begin shrinking the asset portfolio without delay, and I think this week.
And I was
the
gonna
Fed
buy more
president,
puts today.
from
I was
Atlanta,
thinking about grabbing
Mr.
puts on
Bostic,
fucking
said he thinks the Fed should aggressively draw down the balance sheet by at
Roblo,
least
believe it or
$100
not.
billion a month. I know you went
Yeah.
up from 15 billion to 30 billion, but that's a 3.5 time increase over the current run rate.
some short like
So,
I don't know.
to
I was
what
thinking like
extent
a
do you
weekly
think,
or some shit.
And give me an idea of discussions that you're having at the Fed.
Come on,
to,
man. Why the
have
fuck's
a
this shit so
faster
slow?
taper and
Again,
lower
right here.
increase.
This is
We
important.
haven't
He's
made
going
any
to see if he's
decisions.
giving
We
us
are
any
first in
answers.
Discussion of these issues about runoff.
Any time frame.
As you mentioned, there were a number of different pieces to talk about. We had that at the December meeting. I expect we'll talk about it again at the January meeting. Again, just no decisions. But
No decisions. Again,
reflecting
no
on the minutes,
decisions. He just
we
said
need
it
to
right
look
now.
at
There
what
is
they did
still
the
no
last time
decisions
I was
made.
there, as we ended QE and then later started to have the balance sheet shrink, and we thought we looked at that.
Telling you, brother, fun is the
experience,
number
and
one.
that's
Is the one.
informative.
Oh yeah, I still got shares of fun. I'm in
The
at like
economy's in a
150.
completely
About that
different
one like
place than
4 or
it
5
was,
months ago. Back when I got DWAT.
purchases the last time, so the period of time between stopping purchases and beginning runoff will be shorter, and also the balance sheet's much bigger, and so the runoff can be faster. So I would say sooner and faster. That much is clear. Beyond that, we're not at a point of making decisions.
No decisions. Right there. They're not raising rates in March. Run it. Run it. That's what he said.
At coming meetings.
January meetings when they're going to fucking discuss it. That's what I'm taking from it. That's what I'm taking from what he just said. I think it's all on January. So fucking to the moon, bitch. By the tip.
That's about a 24-year trajectory to retire the balance.
That's what I
sheet.
took from all that right there.
And it would depend on the speed, you assume.
What
But,
sort of indicators are you looking at that would actually drive you?
Yeah,
to,
what indicators? So I know I can look at them too. Goddamn
a
it.
faster taper, particularly.
Boom. Right, Waldo? That's fire, bro. That's good. I like it.
Looking at the whole range of things.
I kind of called it. I kind of said he wasn't going to do it. I'm like, I don't see him doing it. I really didn't see him doing it.
Global financial
Well, at least he
crisis
gave us some
that
guidance
played
right now
into
and
it.
told us, that he really isn't.
I think
He's
we'll do-
confirmed it.
we
That's
tend to do
fucking
a lot of
awesome.
Analysis. We tend to take 2, 3,
And then the
4
market sells
meetings
off.
to
Oh, and then the
listen
market
to.
sells
I
off.
find that the best ideas sometimes take a while to surface. They did.
There's a
the last
possibility
time
the market
on
won't like it.
on
They're
this
like,
issue,
whoa, bro,
so-
because it's been pricing all this in. Everybody needs to realize that this rate hike, all this shit's been priced in already. So, like, you mean now we got to unprice it in? What?
Nomination.
Thank you.
I want to turn to bank mergers. Senate Bill 2155.
So now it's gotta be priced out of the market.
There's some regulatory tailoring for
Wild.
some of the smaller banks, and I think it was largely successful. Appreciate the bipartisan effort to do it, but I still, bank mergers are one of the most highly regulated.
So it's not the end of the world, everybody. Everybody was crying,
That, you could
selling,
go through,
fucking, the
and
world was going to
involves
end and
federal
shit, sell
regulators,
everything.
including the Fed, the
It's
Department
not the
of
end of the
Justice, and a lot of opportunities for outside interest groups and others to voice their opinions. But I'm getting the sense that
Everybody was
going
like, the
forward,
market's crashed. Dude, that was not a crash.
there
Like,
may be
what the fuck?
a trend towards making it more difficult for some of the super regionals and other
A
banks
crash
to
is when they
move
start
through
hitting the triggers
merger
for
process.
everything,
I
dude.
tried
Like,
to
when
run
everything
this
gets
one that
halted.
involved
Like,
North Carolina
that's
banking
when you
institutions,
gotta
and it'll
worry.
take a bit longer than I thought it would have. So
I don't know if anybody was trading when they did that, but yeah, there was a point where they were talking about halting all trading when fucking COVID hit.
on the part of the federal regulators to make it more difficult for some of these super regional and smaller banks to actually get through a merger and acquisition process, or is there?
And we still didn't say it was the end of the world when that happened. We were like,
Is
what?
this a
All right,
trend that
cool.
I
Let's
should be
just fucking
concerned
get our
with, or
stacks
do you
up.
believe the financial regulators are still in a position
they just blew it
to
out of
allow the
proportion this time.
ecosystem to continue to evolve, which I personally believe is very important for the viability of the U.S. banking system.
They haven't changed their practices yet, dude.
We're still applying the same. The law hasn't changed, and our practices haven't changed. We're still working our way through,
Yep.
the applications that we have in front of us.
Okay, and I'll submit a
There we go.
question for the record on the status of the
There.
payment system.
Now, the next person I believe is Secretary Warren.
From Massachusetts.
Yeah, from Massachusetts. This lady right
Thank you,
here.
Mr. Chairman.
Everybody knows this
So
chick.
Since President Biden took office, we've added more than 6.4 million jobs, the most jobs that have ever been added to the economy in U.S. history.
Here we go, ladies and
Over the
gentlemen.
past few
Here
months,
we go.
families have faced higher prices in
Here
the
we
grocery
go.
store, at the gas
Senator
pump.
Karen.
Addressing inflation is one of the Federal Reserve's most important jobs.
Zoom in on her.
If we
Zoom
solve
in on
this
it.
problem,
The cameraman
then we
zooming
need
in
to
on her.
understand why it's happening. So, if we can, let's start with Econ 101. Chair Powell, in markets
Here we
with lots
fucking
of
go.
competitors, are companies' profit margins generally likely to stay
Econ
low? That is,
101. No,
in
she didn't.
competitive markets,
No,
are
she
profit
didn't.
margins likely to stay steady,
That's
modestly
wild.
above the cost of labor, materials, and capital?
Microeconomics would tell you that all of the
This
things
bitch.
equal, you will compete down to your marginal cost.
Good. And in markets with greater concentration,
This one
and
right
not
here.
much competition, are corporations generally able to raise prices and increase profit margins, all else being equal?
This chick right here,
So
bro.
the connection between
Get her, pal.
concentration and
Get
market
her.
power is not as clean as
TLT's
we might think
doing
it
pretty
might
solid
be.
right now, though.
In some of the industries that have concentrated, they've actually
Right off of VWAP.
there actually has been, sort of lower cost increases. It's resulted in lower cost
shit.
for consumers, and I'm thinking there of retail and things like that. So it's not as direct.
Well, but let me ask it the other way then, because we're still kind of doing Econ 101 here.
Damn.
For a corporation that has eaten up most of the competition and cornered the market, is it easier for you to raise prices on your customers and maximize your profits because you don't have to worry about losing your business? In other words, you've lost the discipline that the market imposes.
In principle, if you don't have competition and you're a monopolist, yes, you can raise your prices.
Okay, and over the past year, we know that prices have risen because of supply chain problems, unexpected shifts in the demand for goods, and even higher labor costs. But if corporations were simply passing along these costs in highly competitive markets,
There's a lot of
would
shit
the
that affect
company's
that shit
profit
right there, lady.
margins have changed much?
There's a lot.
So many things affect those that calculation. In principle, you can be right.
Damn.
Was very much not what we're seeing.
She kind of got him on that one, huh? She kind of got Powell on that one a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie. She got Powell fucking froze on that one.
Are reporting fatter
She put that fool in the corner.
margins than they
Damn.
reported before the pandemic, which doesn't sound like they're just passing along costs. So let me ask you, does that increase in profit margins combined with greater market concentration in industry after industry suggest to you that some corporations may be passing along increased costs and at the same time charging more on top of that to fatten their profit?
Call that
margins?
scalping.
That could be right. It could also just be, though, that demand is incredibly strong, and that
Yeah.
they're raising prices because they can.
You got to supply and
Well,
demand,
that's
though.
the
Supply and
point. They're raising
demand.
prices because they can, and they're not being competed down.
Supply and demand,
market
ladies. Supply and demand.
concentration has allowed giant corporations to hide behind claims of increased cost to fatten their profit margins, so the consumer pays more.
Yeah, she's
both
going off on
because
one.
the corporation
She
pays
came
higher
off from the
costs,
far
and because,
fucking
as you
corner.
put it, because the corporation can increase prices. The reason I raise this is that higher prices have many causes, and we can't overlook the role that concentrated corporate power has
Time's almost
played
up.
in creating the conditions for price gouging. Now, before my time expires, I want to ask you about one other important topic, and that is about climate change. Mr. Chair, when you came before the Banking and Housing Committee last July, you said that the transition to a lower carbon economy could, quote, lead to a sudden repricing of assets or entire industries, and that we need to be in a position to deal with all of that.
Fucking Warren, man.
Why is it important for the Fed to
Okay,
assess
PLTR is looking
risks
pretty
related to
fucking
climate change
great over there.
in order to fulfill its
Looks like it
mandate?
wants to go.
So our role on climate change is a limited one, but it's an important one, and it is to assure that the banking institutions that we regulate understand their
Bitcoin's
risks
at
and can manage them.
42.4, about
And
to hit
it's also to look
42.5.
after financial stability. And with financial stability, the issue really is, can something from climate change arise to the level that would threaten the stability of the entire financial system?
GameStop's
that
at
sounds like
131,
more
just
in the
chilling right
nature
there.
of
Prog's at
what you would read
189.
Something in the nation of transition risk, where some unexpected government policy change happens, which could potentially
GameStop just got a little pop off the bottom over there. Look at the volume coming in a little bit, just a little bit. It's a nice little pop over there in GameStop. Jump from 132. That's a little dollar
And I
jump.
hope the Fed will step up. Last thing, Chair Powell, I sent you another letter asking for more information about the Fed's ethics scandal.
Oh, here we go,
And
the
I asked
ethics
for a
scandal. I
response
love
by
this
next
one.
Monday. Can
That was big,
I
dude. When those
receive
two guys
your
stepped
assurance
down,
that
they
I'll get
never
that
stepped
response
down
by
without
next
having
Monday?
somebody else to take their spot. Usually when a
to look
fucking
into the
CEO
status
steps
of
down like that, they usually fraud. Fraud comes to mind usually. That motherfuckers did. They said, "Oh
Okay,
shit, we're
very
out."
important. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy of Louisiana is recognized.
They said, "Oh, we know all about ethics. We had to go."
Mr. Chairman, congratulations.
Oh, this guy right here, man. He's going to say something funny. I know it.
That,
Feel it.
You are, and once you're confirmed,
This fucking guy.
will continue to be one of the most powerful people in the world.
Every time. Didn't he say this last time? He said this
So I
last
want to
time.
begin today. I have some questions, but first,
I love this guy right here.
I have a plea.
Oh, got a plea. This is
Above
so much.
all else,
The suspense is killing me.
above everything else on your
The
plate,
suspense is killing me.
I ask that you please preserve the independence of the Federal Reserve.
Yes.
The last thing that America needs right now
This fucking.
is to have the Federal Reserve put aside. It's the last thing the world
Oh,
needs
yeah.
right now. And believe me, the whole world is watching.
Yes, eyes is
including
straight.
our enemies. Now, I get
On
it.
YouTube.com.
Our politics is polarized. I hope you'll remain blissfully ignorant of that. And I get it. I'm not telling you not to listen to elected officials, public officials.
But we got some dirtbags.
I get it. I mean, I can only.
Oh,
speak
wow.
for the Senate.
Bitcoin gassed
They
it,
have
dude.
some very smart
42,551.
people
What does it need? A breaking down wall, though?
They have strong opinions and strong
43?
personalities. We've got a few senators that,
You little
to
prick.
paraphrase
Damn pricks
Dave
down the
Barry,
bottom.
think they ought to make a Hamilton.
All right, Euro is closed.
About their lives. I get all that.
Euro closed
but
right
you
here.
gotta remain in
This guy is just winging it, dude. It
the
sounds
dollar,
like.
and political fads come and go.
I think he just winged it, bro. He just woke up, came to the committee. He's like, I'm just going to run it. I'm just going to run
The
it.
dollar
Wing it.
underpins the entire
Hit fire.
world economy. Politicize it at your own risk.
Yeah, I think this guy didn't get his shit
Let me
together.
shift gears. Question.
Oh, there,
Professor Keynes.
there we go. D-Walk starting to make another little push.
More than I do, but
I'm on D-Walk. Get some more volume in it.
Professor Keynes has seen a resurgence in the last few decades in
Where's Neo at? Neo is at $30.
number of
Neo's actually
followers.
fucking positive today, huh?
And of course, we both know, Professor Keynes said, one way to get out of a recession is to have the government spend money
42.78
it
roughly.
doesn't have, the deficit spend,
It's,
stimulate the economy.
it needs to gas through it though. I don't see the
But
fucking
Professor
the
Keynes
momentum.
said something else that
It needs momentum.
the media doesn't usually quote. He also said, when you get out of the recession, pay the damn money back, didn't he? Didn't he say that?
Yeah, I was gonna add that. He's what he
There we
said
go,
was
D-Walk's going
it's
for
okay
it.
to do deficit spending, but you
I'm
should
on
be doing
D-Walk. Get the
surplus.
volume in there. Neo's making a
Yeah,
push
in
for
good
it too.
times to
Fucking little
support
scammer.
Now, behind me is a chart of our public debt going all the way back to, I think, 1990. You don't have to be Euclid to see that the direction is up.
What?
And it's been up
What'd you call me?
under Republican administration.
Oh, he's showing the chart.
and
He's
it's
showing
been
a chart.
up under Democratic administration.
This guy's got a chart with
It's
him.
been up under Democratic, Republican Senates and houses. It's up. So here's my question to you.
Yeah, the volume's coming in just a little bit. It needs more
At
though.
what point, how much is,
Neo's
is
got a
too
lot of
much?
volume coming in though.
at what point in your judgment are we going to hit the point where you have to say, no, that's
Yeah, a
it.
little scammer over here. That
We
fucking
can't do
volume
anymore.
fell on his face on Gemprex.
It's hurting the world. It's hurting our country.
So we don't know when that is, and as the world's reserve currency, demand for our
Bitcoin's
paper
gonna try to make another push.
is very strong. If you had shown that and then asked somebody 15 years ago to predict what interest rates would be, they wouldn't be predicting that the 10-year would be at 175,
No,
right? So there've been a lot of demand.
but they would have predicted that the debt was going to go up.
They would have looked at that picture and said, well, you must be experiencing difficulty borrowing, but we're not.
They would look at
all.
it.
So,
Yeah.
no, we're on an unsustainable path. Debt is not an
Unsustainable
level, but
path.
The path is unsustainable, meaning it's growing faster than the economy, meaningfully faster than the economy. We have to address that over time. We will address it over time. And the better way to do it is soon, and to do it in good times. Start when the economy is strong and the taxes are rolling in. That's you know,
that's why the timing is when they do it.
That the sustainability of the debt is something we need to get back to.
That guy, he always comes up with some fucking crazy questions.
Good luck, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Van Hollen of Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Mr. Chairman.
How's the market taking this shit so far? It's kind of hit a little bit of a resistance at the top.
But I think it's important to look at some critical areas where we're much better off today than the Fed predicted what it would be at this time just a little while ago. We've seen a record increase of 6.4 million jobs in our economy in 2021.
Damn, we're getting some more selling pressure over here on fucking Genpreg.
When the unemployment rate was 6.7%, the Federal Board of Governors projected that the unemployment rate in December of the year we just came out of would be 5%. Isn't that correct?
I'm sure, I can't do it from memory, but I'm sure you're right.
Right. Well, as I reviewed your predictions, that was what it was. And in fact, we did much better than that. The unemployment rate for December,
so look at this chart, pal.
Left, was 3.9%, and the unemployment rate for that fourth
Woo, there we go, baby. Dow's about to go positive.
A year
fucking loving it.
Of what the Fed had predicted. Is that
so not by March.
Yep.
We're good.
And what
We're
happened
good so
in
far.
between was
about a little bit more time
in the Senate and the House and folks around the country looked at those projections and said that is not the kind of.
We just gotta see how the market's gonna take it. That's what it all depends on. I mean, I don't give a shit if it sounds good. The market has to digest it.
The economy and helped result in those much improved.
Palantir's about to go.
Numbers.
It's getting some volume in it now.
Yes.
Now, let me just talk about inflation. I think all of us recognize that Americans are experiencing price increases in many areas. The Federal Reserve has predicted the Cleveland Fed projected a 2.6% inflation rate for this year, which matches the Federal Reserve Board's projections.
And Genprex is coming down to fucking the low of the day. It just busted through the low of the day, 228. We made a new low over there.
The last couple months. But can you explain why you're confident at the Federal Reserve that we can hit that 2.6% target while
that was a lot right there on that down fucking. That's a lot of selling.
The median of expectations, of individual expectations. God, we don't have a committee or official Fed forecast. And it's conditioned on a number of assumptions. And you know, the most important assumption here is that we do get significant relief on the supply side. That global supply chains loosen up, and we get more semiconductors so that we can start manufacturing cars again.
That's a lot of sellers stepped in over there.
That's going to be a big part of getting inflation back down. Part of it will also be
there we go. DWAC phone work. They're going to make another push for the high end.
Less accommodative policy, but still accommodative. But a lot of it will come on the supply side.
And on the supply chain issue, I mean, there have been recent reports of progress in a number of supply chain bottlenecks. Can you just speak to your perception of where that stands?
Yeah, so it's just you've always see a few snowflakes, but
a few snowflakes. I like that analogy.
If you look at the Port of Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach, record numbers of ships still at anchor. We did see, and this is maybe what you saw. Inventories are moving up and delivery times have shortened, and that's a good thing.
I'm on, you little fucker.
But on the other hand,
go.
Omicron can really, particularly if China sticks to a no COVID policy.
Yeah, that's going to have a lot of implications right there. That China closing the shit completely down, they keep it up.
Although it could be briefer this time. So I think the picture is,
Fools are welding people in their buildings over there.
I wouldn't want to say that it's decisively improved.
You got COVID? Lock them in.
I got it. I was pleased to hear President Biden say when he renominated you for this position that you
Bitcoin 4275 hit another high. It's up there right now, Waldo.
Yes.
And if confirmed,
73.
how do you plan to prioritize addressing the financial risks of
Getting a
climate
little
change
push.
in your next term?
So we have a role to play. It's a narrow one, but an important one, and that is it relates to our existing mandates. We don't have a new mandate on climate change. It is really the simple mandate, the central mandate of
67, 70, 777, 784, 7 fuck.
We're doing that particularly
780s.
focusing on the largest financial institutions who, by the way, are
788, 795, 4280, 42820. It's fucking moving right now. 42, 42920.
Stability of the financial system, and over time,
right there at the 42.8.
can play into that as well.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to see that you do agree that it's a
I'm all busted to 49.
Thank you, Mr.
42.9.
Senator Haggerty from
Chilling at that 48.6.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ranking Member Toomey, I appreciate your holding this hearing, and I want to congratulate Chairman Powell.
Wicked through, you know what I mean, bro? You see that?
To be the chair of the Fed. Thank you for your testimony and your presence here today, Chairman. First, I have just a quick housekeeping question.
That shit's
for you.
wicked, man. That's
I know the
crazy.
answer to
See
this,
that
but
shit,
as a matter of
42.917? It's
fact,
just
have you
chilling
ever
right there. It looks like it wants to
your
go through the
resume,
42.9.
record, your publication history?
Hit the
I don't think so.
43.
I did not think so. Thank you for clarifying that for us. I'd like to turn to the topic of quantitative easing for just a minute,
42.927.
When Chairman Bernanke
There it is, 42.92
first introduced
or
quantitative
932
easing back
now.
in 2009, he assured lawmakers at that point that it would be both temporary and rare. Essentially, it was
Right there at the
introduced as
hot, at the top end.
Do you
Fed
agree
push.
that the quantitative easing should be both temporary and rare?
I agree we shouldn't use it unless we need to, but I would say
a little sketch
it's gonna
though. It's
depend to
looking a
some
little
extent
like
on
it's
where
trying. It
interest
sure
rates
is
are.
trying.
We've been in a very low interest rate environment even during good times all over the world. And when that's the case,
It don't look like
we don't
that.
have
42.9 said
ammunition to support
no.
the economy.
It
So
came up, touched it,
I
pushed
can
it back.
imagine a
Yeah, it's
regular
getting pushed
garden
back a little
variety
bit.
downturn, which we haven't had
See,
in
is
a
it
long
to come
time,
back down to
in
42.7?
which we didn't need to resort to quantitative easing to asset purchases, and we then wouldn't. But
Powell
where
pump.
you've only got a couple hundred basis points to cut, you may need to do that.
Ah,
because
42.79,
what that gives you
yeah,
is
it's
the
coming back
ability
down.
to move longer run rates down, not just at the short end.
42.796,
I just remain
42.78.
concerned because here we are 12 years later from its first introduction.
See how today's going to end for that one, though. It might want to keep pushing
Continuing
it.
to grow it, albeit at a slower pace.
Are you having fun in
So,
D-Walk? Yes, I am,
it
Buck.
remains a real concern. You said
I
earlier
got
this
D-Walk
morning
on the
that you
fucking
think the
SPAC
Fed
day,
could
and
be
then
processing
phone where I
$1
grabbed, I
this
think,
year. Can you
around the
provide us
same
with a
time. I
little
don't remember, but it was
clarity
like
on this
$1.50 when I grabbed
process,
phone where.
How soon you think this would begin, and whether you'd consider actively selling securities.
Forgot where I grabbed
rather than
phone
just letting them
where.
gradually
Over here,
run off
some
the
shit
balance
like that.
sheet.
When the pop happened, I made a little bit of money off phone where.
At our first discussion of this set of issues at the December FOMC,
Yeah, I'm still in those
we'll
ones,
talk
waiting
about
for
it
fucking
again
next
at
month.
the
Next month, these two are
January
gonna
meeting in a
run
couple
with
weeks.
fucking
Haven't made any
if they do
decisions.
launch that
This
site.
time is going to bear some
Which that's what they're
similarity to
aiming
we did
for.
last time, but it's going to be different too, and that's already clear. In that we will have the ability.
Yeah,
to
so
move
I haven't
sooner
sold anything
and
yet.
move a little
Not
faster
yet.
than
I
we
gotta
did,
wait until this fucking shit
last
show's
time.
over and we get back
So,
up a little bit.
More clarity is
Oh,
coming.
it's so cheap right now. I'm not sure
real
if it's
soon
too
on that, but
late to
I
add
don't
D-Walk.
think in terms of selling,
Nah,
assets,
it's still
we
not
haven't
too late
made
on
any
D-Walk
decisions
because
on
D-Walk
that. We
is
didn't
right
do that
here.
last time.
It kind of came back
we never
when it
rolled it
popped
out
right
again.
here on the SPAC day.
So
It's
it's
been
just
holding
something
up.
we
So
look at.
you got to
The
remember,
industry's a whole lot
D-Walk
bigger
is
this time.
still
Obviously,
been the
duration
best
is shorter, so
performing
it's
SPAC
different. And the
ever.
economy's much
You know,
stronger.
in the history of
So
SPACs,
it's
D-Walk is still the
very
best
different
one.
situation.
So I'd like to.
I would probably wait for it to come back down if you're going to jump in it because it is a little overextended today. Wait, maybe tomorrow or towards the end of the day it might come back. Yeah, give it a few hours just because it's so hyped up right now. Just because with these guys speaking right now,
This Thursday.
just let it calm down and come back down to reality.
Looking recently at the 5-member board at the FDIC and what happened there.
But fun will track D-Walk. It'll follow it.
Overturned 88 years of tradition. and
It'll
independence.
directly inverse that one. Whatever way this one's going, it'll keep track of it. So just whatever one you go for, you'll be all right.
Rohit Chopra forcing out the FDIC chairman before her 5-year term was up.
But yeah, a lot of people in here are on both of them, or a lot of fun.
Causes
I don't know if anybody's still holding the D-Walk.
That an activist bloc at the Federal Reserve Board could sideline you. They could
Mprex, you little scammer.
Full FOMC membership.
28.
So my question
Where's
for you, Mr. Chairman,
Bitcoin? Still
is the Fed
42.8.
vulnerable
It's still holding up at the
to
42.8.
similar Unfortunately,
looks like I might want to make another push. The buyers really stepped in.
An organization like we just witnessed at the FDIC, and what could this committee do to prevent it?
But so far, what Fed Powell,
You'll know that I don't have any.
so far what he said has been pretty dovish.
Fed, regulatory monetary policy is
March should be still pretty good. He hasn't, you know, they're not going to raise anything yet. But the tapering will happen.
In total, there are as many as 12 voters. So we'll always have a balance of
governors. So no more bond buying, but they're not going to start selling shit or raising the rates just
really
yet.
Business of the Board of Governors, and there are as many as 7 governors and a majority is 4. We do have a history at the Fed of
Phonware's getting a nice little pop off of it again. They're probably going to make another push for it. Once DWAC gets back above the high of the day, Phonware's going to get, it'll have no problems getting to $3.
And I will work hard to make sure that things stay that way.
And as a member of this committee, I'll work hard to support you in that, to maintain that posture as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Oh, here we go.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Cortez Masto from Nevada is recognized from her office.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Powell, it's good to see you again. Thank you.
Damn, lady, your microphone is fucked.
To answer my calls, meet with me, answer my questions. So appreciate it.
Jesus Christ, these motherfuckers with their damn webcams.
With the question that Senator Chester talked to you about, because I think it's important. We recognize, put this in perspective again. He asked you about comments about.
Wow, that microphone is fucked up.
During the pandemic and then after. And you actually said something that I think was important, that we are still in a pandemic. And even
that's just how she sounds.
In the middle of this pandemic, you said earlier in your opening remarks that the economy is expanding at its fastest pace in many years, and the labor.
There we go. DWAC's going for 34. Once it busts through 34, that shit's gonna move. It's about another high of the day. Phoneware is a little slow behind it. 64 on DWAC, and Bitcoin fell back down to 27.76, 78.
Improve our supply chain.
Wait, Genprex wasn't a scam. I'm just, scamming me right. Ah, god damn, bro. Whoa. Her microphone is fucked. Nah, Genprex is still good, bro. We just got to give it time on that one. It'll start to squeeze. Looks ready to rip. Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, now I'm fucking around with Genprex now. They're still good. That one is going to be at least, because the FDA don't start shooting out their approvals until the last week of this month, and then February is when shit really gets going. The only good thing with them is they got the fast track, which puts them at the head of the line, and the reason why they are at the fast track is because Merck has their PDUFA date, which is their approval date for the cancer treatment, and they need Genprex's treatment for it. It's the same treatment that they use for AstraZeneca. Same cancer shit. But yeah, Genprex is that's the one I'm playing for the beginning of the year. That's the new play that I've recently jumped into last week or 2 weeks ago. But prior to that, I don't think I've added anything else. Just Ford. Fun short interest at 30%. Yeah. Yeah, I got a little bit of shares over there. Not too many. Just enough. I see 23%. Damn, that lady microphone was fucked up, bro.
Chairman Powell, do you think increasing the supply?
I hope somebody fucking puts her on blast for it.
Building more homes would also have an effect on the inflationary prices that we're seeing right now in the housing market?
Yes.
Yeah, Genprex has been doing it. They've been killing it. I mean, hell, when they came out with that same shit, I mean, hell, I wish I'd have found this one back in 2020. It could have got them at 23 cents and just held on to it, sold a little bit, and you still would have been up. So I'm thinking I might even hold on to a nice majority of Genprex towards the end of this. I'll probably keep like maybe 30%, 40% of the position, and then see what they can do, because it's looking pretty promising on for them. Still very high. DWAC has a short interest too. Yeah, a lot of short interest. Well, like I said, the only reason why I'm playing DWAC or even Phoneware is because it's going to be either you love the guy or you hate the guy, and I'm going to play that shit. That's where I'm going to make the money off, because there's going to be a lot of people that want it to succeed and want it to go down just because there's a lot of emotions involved in it. So I'm going to be there fucking making some money.
No one can any longer buy individual stocks In addition, if you want to sell something that so people will be owning mutual funds mainly, as I already do. When you want to sell something, it has to be outside of black.
You say, what did I already do?
Give 45 days notice, and you make that decision. You've got to clear that trade with that sale with a
Ford's looking real strong now. They really did come off the floor down there.
Have a group in the center that applies these rules consistently and
Genprex will get back to $7, no problem. We just got to get that fucking approval.
I want to sell X amount of this mutual fund. 45 days later, that trade will take place, whether things change or not. So there will be no ability to time the market, and really no appearance of the kind of appearance issues that we've had. I think the old system was in place for decades on end.
Fuck yeah, for decades on end. That shit is outdated.
And so we do take the need to protect our credibility with the public very seriously, and I think our new system is easily the toughest in government and the toughest I've seen anywhere.
Nice.
Thank you, Chairman Powell. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
He said, fucking read your ethics policy. I mean, that shit was funny when he said that.
Senator Lummis from Wyoming is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations on your nomination. Please throw me a lifeline here. And
throw me a lifeline, this lady.
Nomination. The Fed's website.
God damn, we're getting some sellers coming in over here on Genprex.
The Federal Reserve will ensure the provision of payment services to all depository institutions on an equitable basis, and to do so in an atmosphere of competitive fairness. But that's
DWAC is 64.65.
The Fed actually uses substantial discretion in providing.
Yeah, especially because firmware has such it's such a small little one right here. That thing will go.
Denies them by delay, simply starving the master account applicant until it dies. And that's true even though every single federal court that has ever looked at this issue disagrees with the Fed's assertion of substantial discretion. The Greater Buffalo Press and Jet Courier Services cases in the 2nd and 6th Circuits found that the Federal Reserve services were, quote, available to all banks. The Fourth Corner Credit Union case in the 10th Circuit from 2017 said the same thing.
Did she just knock on wood? Oh, did she just knock on wood? The hell?
That a depository institution is any institution eligible for deposit insurance. The FDIC says, in General Counsel Opinion 8867, that an entity is a depository institution if it is creating deposit liabilities out of customer assets and is characterized by state law as a bank. As you know, Chairman Powell, I'm terribly concerned about the manner in which Wyoming's special purpose depository institutions
I know what you're talking about.
are being treated by the Federal Reserve.
On fucking Genprex.
What is your reaction to this?
I think last time they got their approval, it took like 3 weeks,
as we
2 to 3 weeks.
There are novel
Bitcoin fell back down to 42.71,
and we want to be really careful.
Ford's Ford back at that's a high of the day for Ford.
Presidential standpoint, and so we've been looking carefully at this, and I would say there are good arguments for viewing SPDIs as depository institutions for this purpose. And I think we are, we're looking carefully at it. I do think we'll make some progress on this, and we could talk about it more offline.
So we could talk about it more offline, okay?
I think you do
get it. Hit me up.
We start granting these. There'll be a couple hundred of them pretty quickly, and we have to think about the broader safety and soundness implications. And it's just hugely precedential. That's really why we've taken our time with it, and we appreciate you bringing
taking
it to
your
my
time,
attention,
huh? Must be nice.
And, so
Take
we can
your
continue.
sweet ass time.
Well, as
Fuck
you know,
happened to my
it's
last
been
one? Here it is.
Well over a year.
Neo's about to go through another high of the day.
I've been stonewalled for well over a year. My state has been stonewalled for well over a year. You know, you mentioned in your testimony today.
Damn, look at that. The Dow's about to go positive.
The post-pandemic economy is likely to be different in some respects. My job is to represent Wyoming's best.
The Dow just went green. All right, yeah, it's about to go green right now.
The Fed is preparing itself for the post-pandemic economy and to promote responsible innovation, as you mentioned in your statement.
Fuck, Asia's over there getting beat up.
You know, I asked your staff for an update on the SPDI charter last week, and I've yet to receive a response. And as we
I am yet to
discussed in
receive a
December,
response.
I
Neo's at a high, another high today, 30.35.
By today. So, my
Should make a DY
disappointment
video
is
tonight.
profound.
Yeah, I've tried to, man.
My
And we tapped the
frustration
850,
is
no conviction. We fall.
And,
Yeah, the conviction
you know,
wasn't really there. That's
but
like, I was like, the momentum wasn't
for
there.
your dialogue with Senator Kennedy and Senator Haggerty today. I thought those were encouraging dialogues.
I'll slap one together today.
Once again, Chairman Powell, throw me a lifeline. I yield back.
Thanks, Senator. Senator Smith of Minnesota is recognized.
Thank you, Chair Brown and Ranking Member Toomey, and welcome to the committee again. Chair Powell, it was, as always, it was good to talk with you yesterday, and I want to just say, Mr. Chair, that I think that together, Chair Powell and Lael Brainerd,
Oh, that's so cute.
would make a great team at the Fed, and I think you're a strong combination. So, Mr. Chair Powell, I'd like to ask you about kind of where we are with employment and how this relates to the decisions that the Fed is making. Last week, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released job numbers from December, as you know well, and thanks to the American Rescue Plan, and I would also say the hard work and grit and innovation of Americans, the unemployment rate has dropped to just 3.9%, which is really a remarkable historic recovery from the beginning of the pandemic.
Really?
I'd note that in my home state of Minnesota, in November, the unemployment rate was even lower. This is
Phonware's right there, though, at least, huh?
Incredible accomplishment. And you and I have discussed
Tilray?
this before.
Fucking hate Tilray.
How it is useful
Dow's
to
right there, it unchanged.
unbundle, though, these aggregate numbers so that we
Dow's the only
understand,
one that needs to go green, the last
a
one.
little bit more about what's happening. We understand that it's a more complicated story. For example, amongst black workers, the unemployment rate remains stubbornly high at 7.1%, more than twice what it is for white workers. So, Chair Powell, could you tell us, how should the Fed consider factors like
X
this
at right now?
as you
Yeah, U.S. Steel is
evaluate
down in the
economic
gutter
strength
hole.
and whether the economy has reached full employment? The factors, what I'm referring to is unbundling these aggregate numbers so we understand more deeply what impact, where we are with the different sectors of our...
Yeah, I think Fund has a higher short on
We
it.
do look at a wide range of indicators to determine whether labor
X
market
in 66
conditions broadly are
days.
consistent with maximum.
I don't know. I think
It's
that
not
might come
single
down
number
more.
like
Steel is
inflation
way the
can
fuck
be.
up there.
And you mentioned a couple of them.
Plus, price of steel has been
what we
kind
saw
of
at the end
falling.
the last very
It's been
long
coming down a
expansion
little
was
bit.
That unemployment rates and the gap between white unemployment rates and other unemployment rates were at all.
Yeah, I think it dropped like 50 cents a linear foot here in Sacramento.
And really a feature of having a tight labor market. So that's something that's a little bit of something that tells us whether the labor market is tight. We're not targeting a
Gem
particular
price is
number.
way
there,
on
but
the
we're
bottom
using it to
today.
inform our thinking.
Man.
You mentioned
I think it hold up there. It should be fine. I mean, it's not even at the low yet.
It dropped by 2.9% this year.
Basically, we're at
that's the same decline as for white
where
workers.
we at?
The other thing I'll say is
Like
that there
right
was an
here in the
increase
middle.
December of 5 or 6
In the middle of the
tenths
open and
of
close
black,
yesterday.
In black unemployment, it's a much smaller sample size and it's pretty volatile. So we would tend to look for a couple of months. It can bounce around more than the overall aggregate. Another key aspect of maximum employment, though, is participation. So we also want to think that participation is at its structural high level, and there isn't a lot of slack in that pocket. And that's been...
Yeah, I think I've been hearing 30%, 23%, somewhere between above 20 and 40, 30%, somewhere in there.
And so that's another thing that we look at carefully.
Yeah, thank you. I agree
Bach
with that.
caught itself.
And I think that,
Where's Bunny? I want to look at Bach.
Minnesota, as we are all over the country,
Bach's at
experiencing
642.
shortage of workers.
Down a lot
I'm
over
glad
on
to
Bach.
see that what we are seeing,
Little
in fact,
scammer.
is wages increasing, especially for people
Little mother effer.
who are in lower wage jobs, and that for the first time in a long time, workers, I think, have increased bargaining power, which is a benefit to them. So these are complicated issues. I think it's important that we kind of look beneath some of these aggregate numbers. But I want to touch on another issue before I wrap up here. You and I have talked about my grandmother, Avis
We're getting
Mason,
some volume over here.
who
It was getting a
was
little
born
movement.
in 1898 and who became the president of a small community bank in Etna Green, Indiana. Her father, who started the bank, was blessed with 3 daughters, which is how she became
Fucking little
president.
scammer, right? Motherfucker.
Like so many banks around the country and over the years, her bank was ultimately sold to a larger bank and became part of the story of increased consolidation in the financial sector. And this pattern has repeated itself for decades in Minnesota and all across the country. Over the last 30 years, the number of banks in this country
Lying right there. It was
has
way
been more
moving a
than
little
cut in
bit.
half. And we've seen, I think, the harm that
Coin's still holding up right there at that 42.75 area. It looks like it's going for the 42.8, 42.8 again.
And the questions of my colleagues centered around
Roll blows, stretching his legs out.
Issues of concentration in agriculture. So, Chair Powell, one of the important
it's just chill right there. I don't see it busting through it though.
bank mergers. Can you tell us how you think about bank mergers today, and what do you see as the impacts of consolidation on concentration and access?
The Dow go green yet? Yeah, the Dow is, everything's green right now.
In underserved areas.
Not everything, but for the most part.
Statute which requires us to consider a number of factors, and those include
shit, time is at 9:01.
prospects, financial and managerial resources, convenience and needs of the communities to be served, CRA performance, BSA, AML compliance, and financial stability. So all of those things go into our, and there's a rich lore of how we apply those things, and generally banks that are applying for permission to do mergers understand that body of
yeah, there's still just not enough buyers over there.
More broadly, though, as we've discussed, if you could look back at the United States banking industry, it's for 30 years and more, almost 40 years, you've seen a very steady decline in the number of banks. So one of the things that's driving that is just, the loss of rural population. And I've seen many, in my earlier years at the Fed, many cases in which you'd have a
roll blows back on for 90.
That had lost half of its population.
Oh shit, 902. All right, I gotta take off, everybody. Waldo, Pop, Stock Raider, Buck the Skunk. You guys take care of yourselves. I'll catch you guys on the next video. And yeah, I'll probably put a DWAC video out tonight. I should get home on time today. Pay attention to where Fed Powell goes. I'll catch you guys on the next video. All right, I'm out.
Regulatory costs are going up, and that's a fixed cost. The need to invest in technology to serve